You are now listening to the Lancescurv Show, the boldest spot on internet radio.
Okay, my name's Anna. I'm live in Vegas right now. And back in 2007, I got pregnant with my first daughter. I got pregnant by a pastor out here. And maybe about a year and a half passed by and I got pregnant again. Um, the pastor wanted to keep it real quiet and not expose anything. I already had a child already that I was having problems with. He was disabled. So I was like, pretty much scared. I was working. I was a hard worker, put myself through college, worked my way up in my company. I was drawing blood, for the major hospital out here and, working for my other lab company. And, I end up, it was a lot of stress from trying to keep this thing secret, but unfortunately I remained in the church with that pastor and his wife and the congregation for a total of 8 years. And at that 8-year mark, his wife ended up confronting me about the situation. And I told her the truth about everything that was going on. And that's where things kind of got, for myself, real emotionally overbearing to the point where my son, he had started having problems in school at that time. I had disciplined him and I had got arrested for child abuse. And I got really depressed because I did everything that I could to take care of my son, make sure he was in the programs like Child Fine, and he was constantly getting kicked out. That's one of the reasons why I had met the pastor. I had met him and he had started talking to me. And I just kind of like, I didn't have anybody else and I was looking for love. I didn't know
Right.
that he was married right off the bat.
Wow.
So, cause he told me something, he kind of like, he's a manipulator. So he kind of like
Right.
used, I would never get married again.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to the church and I told one of the ladies that I was talking to her, because she was talking to one of the men in her church, she was like, "No, Anna, he's married, right?" He continued to go on with this situation. When I met him, me and my ex-husband had got a divorce because I was like only like 20, 21, 22. And he ended up remarrying me and my ex-husband. When he did that, my ex-husband put his name on my daughter's birth certificate, the one that I was already 7 months pregnant with when I married him. During me and my ex-husband's marriage,
Mm-hmm.
I ended up being pregnant with the second baby, and my ex-husband put his name on that birth certificate also. While I was in prison, because I went to prison because I went through a breakdown and I started drinking, and I ended up committing my second charge. I got arrested. I lost my 15-year career. I went to prison for 17 months and I went through cognitive behavior treatment because I went through a lot of things before I even got out here. I'm from Chicago, so I witnessed a lot of things that affected me that I didn't address. And I addressed it while I was in prison. While I was in prison, I told my husband that my daughters were in fact the pastor's children, and he filed for a divorce. And I did not know that I was signing over my legal rights as a mother because I did not know.
Right.
I did not know anything about law. I did not know anything about what was
Mm-hmm.
going on with this divorce. And my ex-husband ended up meeting a lady that was going to that church that
Mm-hmm.
had spoke with both the pastor and the first lady of that church. Now, the pastor had told the lady to just put the children in the system. He wanted them to go in the system because once that happened, then I would have a real slim chance of ever getting my children back. Nobody would ever have to find out that he was the one that got me pregnant with the children.
His image was
Okay.
important to him. Yeah.
Yeah. His
Mm-hmm.
wife He ended up putting a gag order on her and asking her to leave the church and put a restraining order so she could never come back to the church
His
while
wife?
I was in prison. Yeah, his wife. That's
So
what he did.
did
He
he
did his
divorce her,
wife.
or they're married, but she
He
can't come to the
div-
church?
no,
Oh, he
he
divorced her.
divorced her. He put
Oh
a
God.
gag order on her, and he told her that she could never come back to the church. Well, with the restraining order, she couldn't come back to the church. He ended up having to move out of that complex where we was at anyway, because the owner of that complex sold the property to a grocery store or something, so he had to move anyway. Now he's been going under other pastors in the state of Nevada, pastoring out of their building while he's behind them, kind of like under them. And only really way to find out if he's there or not is to get in contact with the pastor, which I
Oh,
already know where he's at and everything, but he's kind of hiding his
yeah, floating
ministry
around.
underneath there. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then he was in the Church of God in Christ, but he got out of the Church of God in Christ so that because they're governed by different laws and they can shut you down. So if he's under a non-denominational, they are not able to touch him or shut him down or anything to that effect. So he's been able to still continue with his ministry throughout all of this. There were people that I had known before I had met him prior to that for 8 years. They're still with him. I don't understand why. I have talked to them myself personally. When you go to church, there's different rules you're supposed to follow by. If somebody offends you or there's a problem, you're supposed to go to that person. In my case, it was that pastor that I had constantly tried to talk to let him know I didn't know how to handle this situation with getting pregnant by him, continuing to go on in the church, and I didn't know how to break free of it myself. So I did speak to other people, and they just brushed it off, and they're continuing to service with him. I'm glad that I got out of the situation because I feel like there was, to some degree, some mind control going on, like in that same instance with
Yes.
who's that pastor that had all those people drink that poison, Jimmy Jones?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Jimmy Jones, yeah. Reason why he's a pretty dangerous man, the pastor is because he fought in the Vietnam War. He was in Agent Orange. He got malaria. He has different things going on with him mentally that he's just someone that should not be pastoring people or be over people because he does things to an excess. And people follow behind him because, he looks great and everything like that. And I end up falling victim
Mm-hmm.
to him.
You're vulnerable.
And yeah,
You are vulnerable. He he he
he,
he he's doing this because to be a pastor, especially with black people, it's like we just give them a pass.
mm-hmm,
Somebody, you see that he has a church and everything, and he's a pastor, but otherwise, all we have to do is say, "Oh, praise the Lord," and thank God, and God is good. You'll be
mm-mm,
blessed. And I'm brother so and so, and we just
mm-hmm,
assume all of these wonderful things about these men. Then, when they claim to be a pastor and are a pastor and actually doing it, we look at them and we don't question anything. So they get a pass
mm,
because all their toxic footsteps in the history of their life, we don't question because they're a pastor. Why? Touch not that anointed. I'm not saying you thought that
mm-hmm.
way because he caught you in a very vulnerable position. But
Well,
go ahead.
it was a lot of scare tactics being used. Like when I told his wife about it, I told his wife I was so angry and I was so bitter and I was enraged about the situation. I felt like I was being silenced. I was calling Trinity Networks and I was constantly telling them about this situation and what was going on. And even through that, I had found this other pastor that was like a mobile pastor, and he proceeded in having phone sex with me over the phone during me trying to tell him that I'm trying to get out of another situation,
Mm.
you know. So I had to cut that off and shut that down, But what was I going to say? But to make a, and then after I told his wife, he said, he quoted a scripture to me. He was like, some things are never to be spoken on. Like, I literally felt like my life was at risk because he's a 33-degree Freemason. And from what I understand about Freemasons, they can never stop being Freemasons. His last baby's mother, well, his first baby's mother got murdered. The baby and the mother, from what he told me, got tied up and they got stabbed to death up in their place. I don't really try to get too deep into the Masonic or anything, but I do research. I'm a researcher myself, and I know that if they need to make a sacrifice or anything like that, from what I understand, they will, and it's usually someone close to them. When all of this stuff happened spiritually, I felt like I was at risk for being killed, or I was at risk for things happening. Just recently, I had filed because my ex-husband just totally abandoned the children with this lady and left them with her. The lady, me and her, for whatever reason, I would think as a mother, she would try to, be a little bit more accommodating. But for the past 4 years since I was released from prison, her and my ex-husband constantly put it over my head talking about, oh, you cheated on your husband, you're a Jezebel, you really hurt him, you hurt your husband, and you did this and you did that. And I've constantly apologized to my husband. It's nothing that I could do for it. I feel like if I keep apologizing, then to some degree I regret my children's life, and that's what I'm not going to continue to do. If I tell you that I'm sorry and you don't accept it, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, that's your problem, not mine. I must move on. So that's what I have done. I had to put the children with supervised visits out here on the state because when I was at the lady's home, she casually pulled out a Tech-9 and showed me the gun that her sons had purchased for her. And she was just like, yeah, they bought me a gun and stuff. And then me and her had constantly been into arguments. And because I went to prison for violence, this is what happened with the second time that I ended up going to prison. My little daughter came to me, and I had been working graveyard shift. I was working 72-hour shifts. That's what I was doing. And when my daughter came to me, they call it sleep deprivation. She came, I had laid her clothes out. I lay all my children's clothes out, and I got them ready, and my ex-husband he wasn't paying attention to the children. The thing is, he'd take them to school, and he just had a one-track mind. He got to go to work. So him getting them ready for school wasn't anything that was important to him, as long as they went. So they had went really nasty with shoes that were like their play shoes, with clothes that were too big. And when I seen my daughter looking like that, disorientated in my mind, not having enough sleep, I lost it, and I pinched her and I popped her a couple of times, and I said, why are you doing that? I already had an open CPS case. So my daughter went back to school and told the teachers her arm was hurt. They was investigating me anyway, and they ended up taking my daughter away for the second time. They took my children away. My ex-husband got them. And long story short, I got arrested and went to prison for that in 2014. They did express to me that if a mother is being abused by or is having some type of severe issues with a father, 9 times out of 10, that mother is going to take that out on that child if she cannot express herself to the father, different things like that. So I took a lot of courses that dealt with that because I honestly did not have any skill sets to be a mother. My thing was just go to work, buy stuff for the children, give them hugs, give them kisses, but I didn't have the ability to feel how my children were feeling because I really didn't have any feelings. Again, like I said, I'm from Chicago. I've been in gang wars, then got cut. My brother got killed out there. He was in a coma for 9 years, and that was what I dealt with right before I ended up coming to Vegas.
Understood.
So Yeah. So I hope I'm not talking too much.
No, 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 no.
Because
Oh
I
no,
can,
no, no.
because I
want
can
you.
go, but
I want you
I
to.
just want to give you guys,
Right.
you
No,
know,
no.
what's.
I want you to. I want you to let it all out.
Mhm.
No, no. Don't even think
Yeah.
that. I mean, you see what I do. You know, I do some long, long shows, and it's no problem with me. Um,
Yeah.
in a way, this is almost therapeutic. You know, for you to just talk
Yeah.
like this. So this is a good thing. And
Yeah.
look, I'm home. I'm enjoying myself. I'm comfortable.
Okay.
I had a good rest
I'm.
last night. The sun is shining through the window. I'm feeling real good right now. And I'm just glad that, you know, you can vent and let things out. But it's very important because you got to also know that you're going to be helping
Mhm.
people out who are in similar situations, because most of these things are
Yeah.
swept under the rugs and they terrorize you, put the
Swept.
fear
I'm
in
talking
you.
about just slip. Folks will try to just slide your life, pow, underneath a rug. Like I
Yes.
literally have to fight by myself, but I do feel at risk sometimes. But since going to the church for all of those years, when I was in prison, I ended up tapping into like my roots and who I
Mm-hmm.
was. I'm a firm believer, like with all of this sex trafficking that's going on and all of the organ harvesting that's going on. A lot of people are
Mm-hmm.
getting took. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's still slavery taking place today. Like when I felt like my children was being taken away, I felt
Ellen.
like that was slavery times two.
Yes.
So now the CPS this is what I had to do to CPS, because when I got out of prison, I still have a 15-year-old son. So they gave my son back to me, but I wasn't stable yet. He ended up finding a foster dad that owned 9 group homes that he was placed with when he went to CPS the first time, and he's from my hometown. So it just so happened to be my son had caught 4 gross misdemeanors, because my son is very rebellious, but he's very smart. He's been on the National Honor Roll for 3 years. When he was with me, I was going through what I was going through, and I really did not know how to help him as being a Black mother. And I just want to put that out there, that being a Black mother, you know, we don't have all of the skill sets that we're not going to have those skill sets to help our children. Our sons need a strong Black man in their life. So with me not being able to handle that, I was ready to like put hands on my son and hurt him, because I didn't know how to handle him at that time, and he kept getting in trouble. And the type of job that I had at that time, I could not miss any days, or that was going to affect my my commission, because I was doing sales. And so I had to now take him to parole and probation, and I had to take him to community service. And I was pregnant at the time. The word gets around quick, so his foster dad contacted me. He said, "Anna, what is my boy doing right now?" He already knew what he was doing. I said, "He just caught 4 gross misdemeanors, and I don't know what else to do." And I just started breaking off crying, and he was like, "Drop his motherfucking ass," just to be blunt, down there off at family courts, and I'm gonna go pick him up tomorrow. And I said, "You sure?" I said, "I'm gonna drop him off. Are you sure you're gonna pick him up tomorrow?" He was like, "I'm gonna pick him up tomorrow. I'm gonna get him back to the house." So I dropped them off. I went down there to CPS. They was looking at me like, "Ma'am, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I'm coming down here to drop my son off." And they were like, "No, no, no, you can't,
Wow.
drop him off down here." And I was like, "Well, that's what I'm about to do. I'm about to drop him off down here."
Mm-hmm.
And they was like, "Nah." And then I just gave my son a hug and a kiss, and I left him, and I called him, and I told him, I was like, I dropped him off. He said, "I'm going to pick him up tomorrow." I spoke to him the next day. He told me he picked him up. It's a lot of different legal things in there that, I couldn't really give them a whole bunch of information on how that process took place, because he owns 9 group homes out here. So perhaps he could have been put at risk. Well, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, but he really doesn't care. And I didn't care at the end of the day. I just wanted my son to be in an environment where he can learn how to develop into the Black man that he is supposed to be, without me causing any more harmful effects on him because of what I was going through already, because I have PTSD. and they diagnosed me with PTSD, bipolar, and panic attacks. But I'm coping with that. I go to counseling. I do what I need to do. But I just didn't have.
Let me just interject if I could. You know,
Go ahead.
Yeah. Since we're on that, I believe that most Black people in America have PTSD. I believe that we have so much on us, and the repercussions from slavery and things that are passed down in our DNA. For people who say that old slavery is over, there are things that we so traumatic in our DNA that it comes out in our children, it comes out in us, the way we're treated here, the things that we know, the unspoken things and the things that we know that we have to deal with. I just believe that most of us are affected that way to different degrees. Maybe not everybody, but we're all affected somehow, some way. That being said, you sharing this, and for those who are listening, you know, there's nothing wrong with knowing that you've been affected. The worst thing to do is to be in denial. So even now I can say I have to thank you so much for sharing, because someone else is going to hear this. And you know, some people out there are going to say, man, she got a jacked up life. Some people will say, oh, this is just entertainment. But somebody out there is going through something, and they're going to say, boy, I thought I was alone. I'm glad the sister shared her story. I just want to interject that, but continue on. I'm right here.
Thank you. Yes, I'm coping with it. One thing about it is I worked in the medical field for 15 years, but back in 2007, I met this African doctor, and I started, and by me, I've diagnosed people, I've saved people's lives, and my only job was to draw blood. But this one lady came in with hepatitis C, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of information about me. And her viral loads were off. She was starting to turn jaundice, really yellow. And she went to go see a nutritionist, and her nutritionist had brought her back to the point to where she wasn't yellow anymore, and her viral loads had become normalized. Okay, so I started checking into this myself, because I've had dreams, because I was starting to get real bad. My hands were starting to get stiff a lot because I was drawing blood. So I had dream about copper. The next day, a man came in with a big copper bracelet that was a crane operator, and he said since he's been using the copper, he hasn't had any more problems with his pain in his wrist and everything like that. So I started studying holistic medicine, and that's what I use in conjunction with that, because what they were trying to do is they were trying to give me 9 different medications. I'm only 35 years old. You're not going to give me 9 different medications that are going to be recalled within the next year or so, or 2 years or so. I almost end up getting that device put in before I had went to prison. Thank God I didn't do it, which was called the Ensure, which is a permanent birth control that they try to push on the African American community, or whoever is looking for birth control in the minority communities. And I didn't get it. And right before I went to prison, I was at the job drawing some blood, and this African American lady came in, and she said, you know, ever since I got the Ensure put in, I got my birth control put in, my whole body's been swelling up real bad, and I don't know what's going on with me. So I was like, man, and that's a permanent device. Once they put that in there, they have to do surgery to remove that. I went to prison, and it was a white girl that was my bunkie, and I won't say what her name is, I almost did, but I'll call her M. And she said they had to do exploratory surgery to remove the device because it had deteriorated both of her fallopian tubes. And
oh my God,
they couldn't find the clamps inside of her system. So that was like my second, warning sign of not to get this device.
Right.
So then once I got out, like I think it was over the last 1 or 2 years, they have recalled that device. I worked in the medical field. I worked at over 20 different doctors' offices out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I worked at over 20 different labs. I worked at the major hospital. I worked at the fire department. I won't say which one. So I worked with a lot of medical reps, and what the medical reps do when they go into the doctor's office is they buy the doctor's office some lunch for the day, and they present the medications to them. And if they have patients that are currently with heart problems or diabetes, they say, well, why don't you use this on Miss Jenkins and Mr. Jones and just go ahead and prescribe it to them now so that, we can see how this medication works. And, next thing you know, 2 years later or less than a year later, there's a problem. I myself personally have not taken birth control since I'm going to say 2014, right before I went to prison. I have been birth control free because I have this real strong possibility that the birth control is linked to a lot of women having to get hysterectomy, cervical cancer, and different things like that, because the birth control pills are hormones that you are taking that are not natural to the woman's body.
Exactly.
And our children, I had to go get they really gave me a hard time because my mother told me this, and I was shocked that my mother had said it, but me and her didn't get along for a couple of years, but she accompanied me to a baby's doctor's appointment with my little girl, and she said, don't get the baby no shots. So I said, hey, if my mama telling me not to get the baby no shots, I'm going to go ahead and sign a waiver form. My daughter's not getting shots anymore, period, in life. That's it. And I was already thinking the same thing myself because I had seen two situations where some children had died during the vaccination process. So I had this African lady from Uganda, I can't even remember. She told me, she said, well, I'm just this is very important that you get your daughter vaccinated. You get her vaccinated. And I told her, I said, well, all of the other children that go to daycare are vaccinated, correct? She was like, yes, that's true. I said, so then she'll be fine. I'm not going to get her vaccinated. And I mean, they were trying to press me so hard to get my daughter vaccinated. But one of the things that bothered me was after I got her vaccinated the first time, my daughter's allergic to milk. She's allergic to eggs. She's allergic to all dairy products, and she's allergic to cats, and she's allergic to dogs. And now at the doctor's office, they do not want to do an allergy testing on the children because guess what? Once you get an allergy testing done on yourself, then you know what you are allergic to. So you won't consume gluten. You won't consume the eggs that they are putting. You know what I'm saying?
Let me just say that
I'm
I'm a strict vegan.
Go ahead.
Free, dairy free, soy free, of course, meat free of all types.
Mm-hmm.
She was allergic to the dairy and the milk, as she should be. That's my feeling. As she should be, because she's not supposed to be eating that stuff anyway. You see what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But go ahead. I just want to stick that in there.
That's good, and a lot of people are suffering from a lot of diseases and autoimmune deficiencies now, because one problem going back to my daughters in that situation with the pastor, the lady that has them, she consumes pork at an accelerated rate on a daily basis. If she's cooking green beans, there has to be pork in it. She has to cook pork ribs. She has to cook pork chops on a daily basis. She has to cook ribs. She has to, and if she's doing anything with vegetables, she has to throw a little bit of bacon in there. And she had contacted me and she had told me, she said, yeah, I'm cooking this pork. I said, you need to, and every time I went off on her, even though I cursed her all out, I left her some valid points. You need to stop consuming all that pork that you're consuming. And when she told me, oh, I'm not going to eat it, I'm going to feed it to the kids, I said, why are you feeding that to my children? As a mother, I feel like I don't really have a say-so in what's going on with my children. All I could do is pray. But my prayer is different now that I had a situation going on with the church. I tap into different things spiritually, because that's not where it stops at. They try to make it seem like, oh, just read the Bible and that's it. You just read the Bible and it's all about Jesus and all about that. But when you've been studying for 10 years and you've been going and it hasn't been moderately, it has been excessively, you learn to look outside the box and you realize that that's not what they say that it is. You start to realize that if we did not study this religion, they would strap us up to the chairs and they would kill us, and they would, if we didn't go with this religion. So not only is it the bucking with the black men that they're doing, and they're putting this in our subconscious mind, because I haven't watched TV consistently for almost maybe 10 years now. I don't have to watch TV. You understand? Because they're putting so much stuff out there in the atmosphere for it to get inside of our minds. And if you training yourself to get up and watch the news every day, you will be a crazy person. I just want to say that. So, I don't know, but I have myself personally have done a connection with my ancestors, and I feel like a lot of black people need to do that, because Christianity is not what we are. It is not who we are. You understand? And that's why they put a little white man on there for you, so that you could continue to service this white man. And I refuse to do so about it. Now, when it comes to the work environment, I work construction, so I have to work with a lot of white people and different things like that. And I'm a respectful person as long as I'm being respectful, you know, at the same time, but you still have to be wise, and you still have to know that that's not who you are. You're not a Jesus worshiper. That is something that they have gave us, that they have programmed us. It was a Willie Lynch project with so many others. By me being from Chicago, if you guys have not heard, they have torn down all of the projects out there in Chicago. And me being so many thousands miles away from Chicago now, I could really see clear that it's something that they had put up. It's exactly what they say that it is. It's a project. They did an experiment. They infiltrated the communities with drugs and guns and different things like that to see how it was going to go. And then they shut it down so that you could forget that there was a project that took place that had another program that was set. They had another, what's that word that I'm looking for? They had another agenda that was set for that time. And once that agenda was completed, then they shut it, they shut it down so that you could forget that that's what was going on. But now that I'm away from there, I could see real clear sitting back. I see what's going on. They said, well, do you believe, I've heard this on 2 different instances from 2 different friends on Facebook. Do you guys believe that the police are killing us? Absolutely, they're killing you guys. Because honestly, to tell you the truth,
but there's mass
the folks in Chicago, I mean, I don't try to say this about, but we make it real easy. By us killing ourselves, we're making it real easy. And then you try to wrap your head around it, like, how can we fix the problem in Chicago, the St. Valentine? A lot of killings and a lot of murders happen there. I would almost say that Chicago's being affected by weathering effects, like they talk about, Seattle, Washington. A lot of people that live in Seattle, Washington commit suicide because it rains a lot out there. Being in Chicago, it's always cold out there, you know. So I don't want to say that it's, you know, it's a weathering effect out there. I believe that there is, because there's been a lot of murders in Chicago, that's why it continues. Like, I want them to say it's like a curse or something like that.
No, but let me just interject again. It's a culmination of many things. Okay, in boxing, the sport of boxing, you can get knocked out with one punch, or you can get knocked out by 20 punches that are softer. See, so I believe with Black people in America, especially the inner cities, the bigger cities, we're under conditions, the perceptions and the real threats to our life, that it has an accumulation effect where if we're a little weaker here mentally or physically or spiritually, wherever our crack is, it's going to break right there. Because police will say, well, I leave my home every day and I kiss my wife and hug my kids and pet the dog on the head because I don't know if I'm going to come back, and my job puts me in a position where I might get killed. But for us, this is no job. This is our life.
Right.
We see the news every day. We see people in our family, in our inner circles, in our neighborhoods getting killed. You just see them at the supermarket hours ago. You hear the ambulance and the cops, so-and-so got killed. And we got to deal with these predatory pastors, this fake religion that's not feeding our spirituality properly. It's like eating junk food, and we think we're going to get nutrition, but we don't. So we're not being fed. We're being lied to in the schools of indoctrination. We're not getting the good food in us. We're eating the bad stuff, like, a homegirl who was feeding pork to herself, and the kids got to put pork. I could imagine what she looks like. Okay.
Oh,
I already know what
teeth
her skin
is
looks like.
Missing outside of her head. I mean, hair is gray. She wears the nice little wigs, but when you look underneath that wig, it looks looking like a monster. And I'm not talking about her. I'm just saying, like,
the facts.
I don't like pork, and I feel like it carries cancer. It's toxic. A pig can't sweat, so it can't release any of the toxins in the system, so it holds it. So what do you think when you're eating something like that? You're consuming anything that pork has eaten, and then not only that, they feed human remains to pork, to pigs. You don't know what they're doing on these pig farms. You really don't know. They eat fecal matter. They do all types of stuff.
Steroids.
Yeah, steroids, all types of stuff. So, you just really, I would steer clear of it. I do steer clear of it. I don't care what people are. I love ribs, but I'm not eating them because I just feel like when I do consume it, it just doesn't, my system doesn't feel right. I get a headache. I don't feel right, so I don't do it. But go back to that pastor. So, some situations was going on with this lady, and I was really having a hard time, so I had to go the legal route with the situation. So I end up reaching back out to that pastor again, which is my daughter's father. And this is the thing that I have, even though that situation took place, now you are pretty much considered to me a family member because we have children together. So I'm not going to just be like, oh, I'm not dealing with this person no more. It's over, period. No, I need to talk to you because we have children together. So what's your take on it, to see if they care, if they really care at all or what? So I did contact him, and he has tried to make several passes at me again, and I had to shut him down. He is married. He just got married, I think maybe 2 to 3 years ago, and he's still on the same, on the same two-step that he was on when I first met him, and he thinks that by coming at me with sex that is going to make me feel some type of way. What I wasn't able to do when I was in my 20s, I'm able to do that now. No, you're not going to know. We're not going to have any sex. And then when he got the paternity paperwork for him to do the paternity test, he was like, well, why you didn't tell me that that's what you was doing? I said, I told you that I had to take care of business. So, even though the situation was, it was really bad because I did lose a lot, but it did make me a stronger person, and it made me more aware of the tactics and the tricks of people period. It doesn't have to be a pastor. It could be a police officer. It doesn't have to be a police officer. It could be a judge. It could be the man that you're going to the grocery store with. And, it just, I'm still working on the situation right now, so I can't really get into depth about the legal things that's going on with it. I'm just hoping and praying that the judge will hear what's going on. I did let the judge know that this gentleman is a pastor, and I want him to be DNA tested, as well as my ex-husband, so we can get to the bottom. Like, the children deserve to know who their father is for real. I know who their father is for real, but they deserve to know that. And then not only that, they deserve to be compensated. He seems to some degree to be a little bit irritated about it, because when he first called, he said, Anna, he said, I got to talk to you. So I said, whoa, let me call you back. So he said, well, what's going on? You know, the sheriff came over to my house, and the constable came over, and the sheriff came by. So what's going on? I said, yeah, that's the paternity paperwork. You know, women have to start holding these men accountable. I also had a problem with my daughter's dad that I just had, because now, like, as the generation, now he's older. He's about to be 70 in 2 years. Now, the 30-year-old guys, it's just like they're popping babies out, the African-American men, and then they're disappearing. And that was about to happen to me recently until it's a shame that you would have to file for child support in order to get somebody to be responsible and work a job and take care of their children without you having to ask for it. And then it bothers me when I hear a black woman or a mixed black woman say, well, he doesn't have to take care of his children. And then I have to express to her, yeah, he don't have to do nothing, but the state is going to make him do it, whether they want to do it or not. And then if you marry a man, and if you're going to put up with that, then guess what? You're going to have to pay for it also. I never believed in putting no man on child support, especially not a black man, because I felt like it was a part of the system. It was a cooning technique. But if that person is not taking care of their responsibility, then you got to make a move on them. You know, because if at the end of the day they're making a move on you and they're saying, I'm not going to take care of my children, so you're going to hurt my child and you're going to just leave my child abandoned, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to let someone do that to my child, regardless of the fact if you wanted to have this child or not. You know, that doesn't matter to me anymore, because I decided not to get an abortion because that's what I decided to do, and I decided to keep my baby because that was my choice. And so it really doesn't matter. You may not want the baby, but the baby's here now, so we could stop talking about the abortion and all of that because the baby's here now. So that's something that I had to do with. I never dated men that were in their 30s until 2 years ago, and that's something that had to happen. Now, because I did that, now he's working. He didn't want to work. He always told me, I'm going to quit my job in 3 months. I'm going to quit my job in 3 months. And I'm like, man, I've never met someone that just didn't work. I still got to put 30 more years in myself into society as somebody that has to work. So what are you telling me that you're going to quit your job in 3 months? Well, who's going to take care of you?
Right.
And why are you going to quit a job that's paying you $1,300 a week in 3 months? You need to keep that job, and you need to take care of your responsibility. Now, people have been telling me, don't take them off child support. If you take them off child support, they're just going to run around and they're going to keep on creating babies. And that's the fear that I do have with this individual, that they will do that. So that's one of the reasons why I am deciding not to take them off child support. That was a bad situation that I went through with him, because when I was pregnant, I didn't have a place to stay. End up moving into his place with me and my supposed to be friend. They end up having sex in the house. What goes around does come around, because I did the same thing. That same thing happened to me with that situation with the pastor. So end up moving her in the house. They end up having sex. They were hazing me pretty much, like, he hit me while I was pregnant with my baby. I remember falling down on the ground, had a successful delivery, And then when I got home, the day that I got home, he had hit me again. And see, at this point,
it was physical abuse
that
also.
PTSD.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't want to call the police on him because I knew if I called the police on him, I was going to take his life.
Right.
You're going to go to jail, buddy, and whatever you got going on is going to stop right here. That's what was going to happen. And then because I had went to prison too, I didn't want to do that. So I was so mad. And I do have a history of violence in the past. I have somebody put their hands on me, and I have literally stabbed them in their neck. And because I was pregnant at that time, that was the only reason why I didn't go to jail. But I think it was God. But but that was the type of things that was running through my mind while they're sitting up, while I'm having my baby at the hospital. They're at the house having sex, left me at the hospital so that they can go home and have some sex. So I said, well, that must be some premium cut right there, because you're willing to go ahead and kick your baby. And then he had told me, he had got so bold because they was doing cocaine together, and I went off. I ended up contacting her job because I worked in the medical field, and I told them, y'all need to run a drug test right now on her, and y'all need to go ahead and run a drug test on her because she's off coke. So I slipped out the box. Some people say, well, that's crazy, and I end up doing some other things. But the day that he asked me to leave was the day that I went to the child support office to go ahead and put him on child support. After I left, they were still playing little games with me and stuff like that. And I let some months go by, and then he finally got the call when he was with his other girlfriend, and I went to go talk to her, too, because I wanted to know how he was looking when he received his paperwork. And he said, so you mean to tell me you was talking to me this whole time and you had filed child support on me? And I was like, yeah, we have to hold folks accountable. We can't just let folks get over on us and step on us, because now, like I said, it's just getting out of hand with the programming and everything. I mean, some folks is all the way out there. They don't care about they family, they friends. They don't care about themselves. They don't care about nobody, and they will just step on you like you just a roach or something, and then spray you and then throw you and chuck you in a garbage can if you allow them to. And that is the problem also that I have with black people, because I could call up now that child's father that's a pastor. He has tall money to the ceiling, but he has not done anything to take care of his daughters. And he's still pastoring to this day. He's a retired Vietnam veteran. He's retired from the Nevada test site. He still has the church. He owned 5 properties that he rented out. And he has done nothing but try to sweep the children up under the rug. They thought I was going to go to prison and just be in there forever, but I just went through there for 17 months and got out, so my life is still not over. And now I'm in a career doing something that I wanted to do before I went to prison, which is construction now. So, and I'm going to work my way up to the top with that. But I just want to say to the black people, it is a lot of stuff that's going on, and everybody's not going to be pro-black, even your pro-black folks. I was in the doctor's office with my mom, and I almost went, wow, because it was all these white people sitting in there, and then my mom just started saying, well, why should I care about black folks? They're killing themselves and doing this and doing that. And I was like, whoa. I said, you need to show yourself. That was a coon.
Yeah.
She did a coon move.
God.
I told her that too. I said, you are acting like a coon. I said, Mom, let me
at that particular point in time. My God. We got to do a show about her, my mother the coon. I hate to say it that way.
Mother's cooning. I'll get back. I'll call you back and we'll do it. Cooning, mother's cooning. And I said I had to check her. I had got my body heated up. My eyes got big. I said, you got to show some respect for yourself and some dignity for yourself in front of these white people. You can't give them that. You can't, just because you got an attitude all of a sudden, you can't give them that negative display of how you feel Black people are doing. They said this is not the time nor the place to give that to them because they're looking for it. And I want to tell you guys something. It's a lot of, I don't know if y'all know, back to the organ harvesting.
Right.
White people are really, I try not to be prejudiced and I try not to think this way, but they're very sick individuals. I do know some that are not as sick as others, but they are waiting. They are some slimy folks. I've seen it with myself. I have my spiritual eyes on. That's what I call it. I have a strong gift. I was one of those folks that, because I had a lot of family members that had went to prison, I used to always go on mugshot.com. And then when I was young, I used to play like a little game with myself where I would look at the mugshot and I would try to guess what that person was doing time for before I would click on it. And a lot of times I was right about what they were in there for. It would be from drugs to rape to child molestation to murder, serial killers. I would do that with myself. So when I'm telling you that I could look at somebody and I could tell, and people are waiting for you to not be paying attention to your children. They're waiting for you to take your eyeball off your child at the grocery store so that they can go ahead and take it. Take your child, not it. Take your baby away from you and be gone somewhere and you'll never see your baby again. They are waiting. Chinese people, I'm starting to have a feeling that they are taking people and cooking them. Just talking to somebody about that the other day, because they are known for cooking dogs and cats and rats and pigeons. So if you think that they won't cook up a human, because now all of the meat is being recalled now, what they're talking about in the end days is taking place. I have read the Bible from cover to cover, but again, I'm not with Jesus. I don't roll with that. I don't know what that's something different. But the prophecies that they talk about, they have done everything to gear us in towards that direction, that what those things that they say that are taking place are taking place. All right? So you just need to guard yourself. They had made a movie almost 30 years ago, and they were talking about because it was a famine. The movie was about a famine. I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about. And they started eating humans. Right. Yeah.
I remember that.
Okay. So, that's the type of, people, oh, you're crazy. No. You need to, why is everybody coming up missing all of a sudden? Because the way I look at it is, okay, go ahead and take that person, that's a Black person, we're going to go ahead and remove the organs, and we're going to go ahead and sell the different body parts to the butchers and have them just go ahead and cut it up, process
no
it,
trace.
and serve that meat.
Gone without a trace.
Just go ahead and, ahead and you ain't going to never find them again.
Yeah. And you're somewhere at a fast food joint or a burger joint eating your best friend. And we have so many young
your best friend's sister.
Exactly. So we have a lot of missing children that between the sex trafficking and the organ harvesting, and I've done several shows with people who have had to deal with that on different levels. This thing is real. Do you think that CNN or Fox, which of course, all of them, so-called mainstream media, are they going to report what we're going through? And also,
no,
not to get off subject, when you look at the fact that so much of our media is being purchased by white and Jewish companies, which they're both the same anyway, they're going to control what's being told. So
everything. They're not going to tell you everything. The best news to look at though is worldwide. Well, no, what is it? It's international news and different things like that, news overseas and stuff, because a lot of those news, I took sociology. Check out sociology. And just that one class there taught me so many different things about the corporations that govern the world, like Walmart and Exxon, which is the gas company. They dominate the world. The Rothschilds, they own up. They're trying to go across it's a couple of more places that they want to go ahead and take financial control over so that they can have one currency worldwide. They want to dominate the whole world. And then just recently I got so mad at African people or Jamaican people, whoever it is, that are allowing these folks to come in. They allowed some Japanese people to come into their land and offer them a couple of $1 million to purchase their land. And then they don't even understand that they're not even going to be able to live in that land. They're going to get escorted or booted off because they didn't sold over to them, because they're not thinking about their future. They're thinking about right now. I got $2 million and I can go ahead and retire me and my family. I'll be dead and gone. I don't have to worry about it. So we're taking bribes, and then they don't even realize how rich those countries is in Africa and how many resources that they have, and they're just giving it up like a prostitute on the corner for $5. They're just giving it up. And it just really needs to be education. I don't know if it's too late to educate them, or folks just, putting money over everything, greed over everything. I don't know what's going on, but it's becoming quite sickening. And when I look at that movie 2012, they said the only place in the world that we were going to be able to go when it all goes down is Africa. And now you're telling me that some Japanese folks got it. They're gaining control over it slowly by slowly.
Let me tell you something. There's an awakening going on with African people across the world, Black African people, because, you have some whites who live over there and others, right? But there's an awakening going on because I'm uploading a show now that I did last night speaking on just that, and it went really deep. And I'm going to make sure that you listen to that. The show before, we spoke with a Black historian. I'm going to upload that. And he spoke about Africa, going back to Africa. Last night, the show that I have to upload now it's just amazing how you spoke on that. And that's what's in the air. And I know that many of us are ignorant and we're saying we don't want anything to do with Africa, but Black Americans have no country to go to if something jumps off. We're stuck here. We're here. And we want nothing to do with the motherland and deny ourselves because of this brainwashing that we've been subjected under. But everybody else is going to where we should be because that's the richest place in the whole planet. And if they get it and we can't get it or keep the connection, because there are a lot of politicians over there and people in power are selling out. And that's going on through the whole Caribbean and every Black nation. And they're moving in. And isn't it something that wherever Black people are in the world, there's plenty resources that are there that they can't righteously exploit for their profit to build themselves up. It's like we don't have the right to do anything for ourselves.
They're doing a backdoor movement. And this is the thing, I didn't went all the way back because, my grandmother was a school teacher and my great-great-grandmother was a slave, all right? So this is the thing. And when they talk about the Bible and they talk about those people coming up out of Egypt and stuff like that with Pharaoh, those were us. Those who we were. We were the ones who built the pyramids, okay? That's us. All right. And that's what we need to know, that that's who we are. That's not me. That's who you are. And that's how we got over here to America today. All right. They burnt down our library. You burn down somebody's library. You destroy their history. But there is an awakening going on because I feel fully awoke. I know who my ancestors are. I communicate with them on a daily basis. They are not happy about what's going on in the world. They are not happy They are very angry, and a lot of folks is going to reap what they sow. Even the ones that decided that they're going to go ahead and sell out for money or for a short time, periodic, feel-good moments, they are not going to get away with it. And then they know that they shouldn't be doing this. If you sit there and you have a feeling in your chest and you get that feeling, oh, that's not something I should do, and you do it anyway, you're going to pay for that. We don't get away with nothing. Okay, for everybody that then got lynched and then got killed, for all of the folks that we then lost, all of that's going to be justified and paid for. Nobody is getting away with nothing. Okay, so they're doing it right now, and they're being real slick about it. A lot of Japanese people and stuff. I mean, it's really nothing for us to, kick their ass, and say, get the hell out of here. We give you back a little something, and you get the fuck off my land. You know what I'm saying? That's what that's what the step that I would take after I realized that I had made a mistake, because that's what they're making right now, and that's why they're not paying attention. Why do you think that they want this all of a sudden? Why do you think that they're trying to come after this? And even when they took us up out of Egypt and they destroyed our library and they destroyed a lot of our artifacts, and they took our artifacts and shipped them over to different countries where we have to go look at them down there now, Japan and Asia is not that far from Africa. It's actually next door. So who do you think that would do that? A lot of our spiritual teachings, like the yoga and the shaman and all of the different, they have like different prayers that they do where they cross their legs and all of that stuff was our stuff. And that's why even though we're praying to Jesus on this low level, and we didn't accept this from a lower species being, because I did a little research on white people. That's why they got to they offered the Rogam shot, okay? And the Rogam shot is a shot to stop a person that is of Caucasian descent from growing a tail. African-American people don't need that shot because we don't grow tails, all right? But they try to make it available. We don't carry the RH factor unless we have a high DNA of blood in us that's white. So those people have to get that shot, and then they'll try to turn it around and they'll try to call us monkeys. We're not monkeys. We don't have that in us. They try to teach us when we're children that this is how the men developed. I mean, they didn't win these. I mean, I got to give it to them. They was really, really smart, in how they dealt with us and how they raised us up and how they taught us different things from us coming. They say that we supposedly developed from a monkey and all of these different things that they gave us, and we're close to being amphibian. When you give somebody something like that and you tell them that this is who they are, they don't operate on the level that they should be operating on, because this is what grabs their attention. They think that this is something and they try to figure it out. But when I was a little girl, I ain't going to lie to you, I knew that was BS. But I knew the whole setup was BS. That's not even the way that we do math. That's not how we do measurements. We did it a totally different way. And we just really have to continue to tap in, and we have to continue to pray that things are revealed to us more and more each day from our ancestors on down, and just, start doing eating healthy. Now that you said you're a vegan, you're about to make me start only eating greens. Okay?
Exactly.
Because all of the meat is contaminated. And that's you talking about 20 million pounds of.
It's not even just that.
Ahead.
It's not even just that. It's about life force. And now that I see you're receptive to that, I can talk to you about that a little bit. I'm not trying to preach, whatever, but I just want to add on to what we're saying for those who are going to hear it later on. It's about life force. You're cheating yourself of life force. The sun is what you're supposed to be eating through the plant life. It's about a plant-based diet. People talk about protein. Your body doesn't use protein. It uses amino acids after the protein is broken down. But you also, with the meat, get the animal fats and all the toxic things that are in that animal secondhand.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about strength. Well, look at a gorilla. Look at a horse. They don't eat meat, right? But that
No, they
sun,
sure don't.
there are nutrients in the sun. When you see a rainbow, righteously,
Mm-hmm.
not the homo business, right? But you look at the
Yeah.
vegetables and it has a full range of colors. Those colors indicate
Okay.
what's inside of those plants and the things underground, the yam and the potato and different things. So when you're eating this meat, you're cheating yourself of real nutrition. You're burdening yourself down. You're deadening that light. Your life force is being killed off, and you're not feeding on something you're supposed to be feeding on. The digestive system that we have is so long, and then when we eat meat, it stays in there and putrefies. And animals are built for this, that have the teeth and the short digestive tracts. But we're not supposed to eat this, and it's just our taste buds have become warped. Because it tastes so good. You can make vegan things that taste better than meat along the lines of that flavor, because the meat only goes as far as your tongue, and once you swallow it down, the taste that's secondhand.
Mm-hmm.
But the energy, the life
I'm sitting
force,
up here looking because I had bought. I ain't gonna cut you off. I bought some. I bought Amazing Greens because that doctor, that world renowned doctor, got. Well, they say he got assassinated or whatever.
Dr. Sebi,
yes,
they killed him.
Yes.
He cured AIDS,
the
diabetes.
Same stuff, yes. That's the type of stuff that, they see me. I go into the herbal store out here, but I have all that stuff. I know about black seeds. I know about the Amazing Greens. I know about chlorophyll. I know about dandelion root with the cancer and stuff like that. I take so many things. But now since he has passed away, they have a little white store out here now that sells all of those different types of herbs and different things like that. And I go there, and they've taken the labels off of the containers because the labels used to tell you what they were used for. But when you're a researcher, they don't have to have a label on there for me to go ahead and Google it on Facebook. I mean, not Facebook, but, YouTube or whatever to see, or, Google just to see what it's for. But I've been studying it for a very long time. And now that you just said something about meat, I was sitting here eating some greens and some black rice and a piece of steak, but I'm thinking I'm gonna go ahead and put it on down, because it's not the thing to be doing. It's really not. And then I
just wanted to say that also, the meat clogs your spiritual eye. The meat clogs your ability. If you are gifted and you have that ability to see, but the meat makes it where the physical eye, just like the physical eye, where you have crust in the corner of the eye and can't see as good, that's what the meat does to the spiritual eye. Because it's a connection and a lust for something that is below us. Okay, we have normal sexuality, sexual desires that are pure, and that is a need. That's how we're made. And we can conquer that and control it also. Not to go off the topic, but sexuality and that's one system in the body that we can not utilize and still not die. Some of us might feel like we're going crazy, but we're not going to die. That tells you something, that you can put that away. If you can put that away sometime in a fast of 2 or 3 weeks, a month, whatever, 6 months, no sex, celibacy,
I'm doing that right now.
Right.
I'm doing that right now. I'm not even going to lie to you. I am celibate right now for whatever reason. I have decided, you know what? I'm not going to allow myself to lay down with anybody for any reason. I don't care. I had somebody contact me. Oh, I don't care what you need. You need Jesus. You don't need Jesus. You just go find yourself, because you're not going to have sex with me. Okay.
Right.
So
and
I
dump
don't know
their energies off on you. Because there's so much more than sex. Yeah. There's so much more than sex.
They want to transfer demons and different things like that.
Right.
And I'm not accepting none of that. You can go ahead and put that. I had this guy, I'm going to get you a car. And, I had went over to his home, spend the night, and I didn't have sex with him. I was like, I'm not having sex with you. Then I went over there again. And he's like, he had a big, family situation going on. He said, just go upstairs. I'm not going upstairs. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and block you for some time. but there's no reason for me to lay down and have sex with you. This is something that you want to do. This is not something that I want to do for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but just right now, I was thinking like, well, maybe my libido is low or something, but I just do
regenerating.
not want to have sex, period. Right. And I did a cleanse where I cleaned my system out so I can get this job, and I was using, I did straight cranberry juice, apple cider vinegar, the Bragg's kind, and then I had took some niacins and stuff like that, just, detoxing my system out. Then I went back to the super greens, and then I was drinking straight juices. And I feel like I don't want to put nothing in there that's going to contaminate my body.
Right.
And unless you just got to really be careful with putting stuff inside your body, whether it be sex, food, tobacco, drugs, whatever.
Here's another one. Be careful who prepares your food if they're preparing it, because energy transfers through that food. It's a very intimate thing. If you have somebody in a restaurant who's pissed off, angry, twisted, confused, and they got their hands on that food, and they're preparing your food. Why do you think the term goes around prepared in love, in the spirit of love? You don't want, first of all, there's the energy transfers. Forget the physical things that you can see.
I had let a crackhead prepare my food recently. So now...
no. It doesn't mean you're going to go out and smoke crack, right? But you might find yourself getting horny because that might be your crack. Sex might be your crack. Whatever our crack is symbolically. Right. You know what I mean? So you got to guard on so many things. Also, I'm not trying to get into your business on a super intimate level, but at this period for you, no masturbation. Because none. I have one of the most expensive ones, and I have it put up, not even at my location, and I don't even have a desire to utilize that. And as a matter of fact, because the charger piece that's on it is missing, so I said, well, I got to order another charger. That thing costs $199, and I don't even use it. Well, one of the things is because I have my daughter that's with me, and me and her share the same room. I'm not going to do all of that around her right.
while she's asleep. Some people say, well, they're asleep, they're not around. No, they are around, and they can feel that. I'm not going to bring her around somebody, have her in the other room while I'm going to do this thing. So I just say, hey, it's not my time, and it's not my place to do it, so I'm just not going to do it.
Well, see, when you do that, aside from who you're committed to or whatever, you're an open-ended vessel. I mean, the incubus and the succubus, depending on what the person's sex is.
Yeah, those two demons.
You're giving it to them for free, because now here you are experiencing this open-ended energy, and you think you're the only one in the room when you're doing that. And also remember,
somebody's with you.
Exactly. and then when you're trying to abstain, they will make sure that your orgasm is mind-blowing to get you hooked on that and or the possibility of a whole partner. So trust me, you have such a mind-blowing orgasm. You're like,
let me tell you something. I had 4 exes contact me within a 2-day radius period of time. One of them contacted my mother. And then he was like, so you mean to tell me, he started using profanity and everything, you gonna fucking block me? And I said, whoa. I said, no. I mean, I had to play it. I didn't block you. I said, I don't know what's going on with the phone. So in order to go ahead and calm him down and to gain back control over the situation, I went ahead and blocked them. And then I listened to a couple of texts, and he was like, well, when can you come by? I said, well, I'm working 3 jobs now, man. I mean, I just don't have the time nor the energy anymore to partake in sex. I'm celibate, and that's what I'm doing. And you're going to have to find you somebody else to get connected with, man, So that's that's just what I'm doing for myself. I really honestly could care less what he does to help himself out. I'm not going to help him out. So he has nothing coming. None of them do. None of them.
Everything happens in seasons. And there's a reason why we have the winter time on Earth, right? It's to regenerate, to rest, to regroup, to cleanse. When you have all the snow, if you're up north, or even, springtime comes, everything is wiped clean. Everything is cleansed. What the dead matter is absorbed and reused, but you have to have a time for it to do so. You just can't have everything lush and growing all the time. So with your body,
Right.
after all you've been through, go back and think about the pastor, his demons, his toxicities.
Oh yeah.
That he knows he's full of it, because having sex is not just a matter of having sex. Having sex
it's
for
a
some
matter
people,
of taking control over someone else's being. Almost, I say that to him. See, he's old as he is. I said, well, damn, you got one foot in the grave and one foot out, man. I said, you talking about you want to have sex with me? That thing ain't even hardly working right there. You know what I'm saying? And I said, so what you trying to do?
The demons want a new place to live.
I said, you're trying to do a reprogramming? That's what I asked them, because that's what I know that you're trying to do. You're not going to do a reprogramming on me. You know what I'm saying? And then once that happens, because he thought he still had to connect, because when you connect with somebody and you have sex with them, that's something that is continuous to be there. Years can go by, and then you can still get in contact because you connected with that other person's soul. So, you know, just like my daughter's dad today, like I could be thinking about him, and then he'll start texting me or whatever like that, because we have a baby together now. We have a different type of connection than other people be thinking, or I'll be thinking something and he'll text me, and I said he probably thinking the same exact thing. But you do have to really be careful with who you have sex with, because and I heard this girl tell me this, because being in prison, I ran into a lot of prostitutes, okay? That's all that's in jail in the state of Nevada when you first get arrested is prostitutes, because that's what everybody's getting picked up for, and they're getting put on 72-hour holds. So you meet them and you hear different stories. I could write a book called Hotels. Is one of the books that I'm going to put out there on all of the stories that I have heard from hoes and actually have experienced with them, okay? And the one girl said she has a man out here that she had wanted me to introduce. She wanted to introduce me to him. He's from Louisiana. And I ain't going to say what they call his name, but he is sort of kind of like Bayou Witch Doctor or whatever you want to say. And she was telling me that he had sex with several women. And once he had sex with them, they're very high-paid prostitutes out here now, since going through him. His job is to get control over their mind. She said that was one of the reasons why she would never have sex with him. She said she knew that if she had sex with him, she would be set financially for life, but she would be underneath his control. These type of things actually do exist. They are actually taking place.
I know.
And I have had folks try to do certain things to me also. And you just got to be ever so careful, you know what I'm saying? And you really have to guard yourself, and you have to know how to love yourself, and you have to first spend time with yourself and get to know who you are before you have a relationship. I have a young girl that I know right now that's lost and turned out, and she's just like, she wants me to get in a relationship so that my daughter's dad can forget about me. And I'm just like, it's not about that. It's not about just getting into a relationship, because anybody could be in a relationship. But I want to be in a relationship with myself and learn who I am first before I go ahead and get connected with somebody else that's going to just manipulate me and play with my mind, because I don't know who I am, because that's the only thing that's going to happen. And that's for a lot of the young women out here. And men are waiting for income tax time so they can go ahead and get your money, move on in, you know what I'm saying? Move on in with you, pretend like they love you, girl, you know what I'm saying? You might be big or whatever, they're going to pretend like they love you, and they're coming to move on in.
They're going to give their best performances.
Yeah, they're going to cook for you, clean for you. I've seen it myself with my own two eyes. And then next thing you know, when income tax come time, you're going to be spending all your money on this joker right here. And, you're going to be feeling good like that's something that you want to do, but you're not realizing that he done had sex with you, he done penetrated your mind, your body, and your soul, and now he has it. And this is why you're spending all your cash on this joker right here. It almost happened to me this morning. Somebody sent me some cash at me, $20. No, I'm not your Santa Claus for Christmas, okay? You're supposed to be cash apping me some money. Okay, so what are you doing? Blocked? That's how I handle the situation. So, yeah, so that's just my experience with different things. But, yeah, I guess that's what I'm on, and I really don't have no desire to have no sexual relations with anybody. And I know now that I'm saying it and now that I'm putting it up in the airways, the little demons is going to try to come and have sex with me right away.
They're going to send somebody to you very appealing. Very appealing. And again, no, let me tell you something. I've spoken to many people. For every person I speak to on a show, there's probably 100 people that call me, talk, and they give me little tidbits and nuggets of information. But here's the collective. Here's how it works. You say that you're not going to have sex with anybody. So, okay, you get the feeling. Now the hands start to do the fingers do the walking, right? And then we have the visual stimulants of pornography. And this is why most people are hooked, because it's a cycle. It's like alcoholism. So now they're scrolling through. Right. They're scrolling through and looking for some visual stimulation, and they find something. They find a particular scenario, grouping of people, fetishes, and different things. Now you're sitting here manipulating yourself, watching this stuff. It's in your mind. Well, guess what? Now we know what you like. Now we know how to get to you. And the very next day or within that week, here comes a situation that is picture perfect. And it's so tempting because look, as a man, and I work in the public, I drive a bus out here in Orlando, Florida, right? Women hit on me, but it's not like that happens. But for women, oh man, I tell men, you got to understand. I don't care what the woman looks like. She's getting hit on every which way, all day, every day. She can have one tooth on her head. She can have breath that smells like Lindbergh cheese. She can have feet that smell like old corn
coming
chips.
To holler.
Exactly. So somebody, they may not act that way, but they're gonna throw their eye at you and try. And you can probably want to go to the bathroom or have a headache. That's on their mind. So even with that, now here comes something highly specified according to what you like. After you did that and put that out to the universe, you basically put out a request. Please send me this. So you have to be covered and always and totally committed to understand that you cannot break the process of cleansing and regenerating and grounding and connecting, because look, butterfly doesn't come out overnight. Right.
Once you're cleansed, and just to let you know, the situation with the pastor happened, the finalization of that situation happening when I went to jail was in 2014. Okay, so haven't had any dealings with that situation since then, but did pick up 2 slime balls after that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe right now that's just what I need to do, is to just cleanse. Well, that's what's happening, because I don't have no desires for none of those things. But I was going to say something. About that too. With that, once you cleanse yourself out, then you'll be able to attract the things that you're supposed to have.
Right.
That better husband or that better wife that is suitable for you. As long as you continue to lay down with a bum, you're gonna run into bums. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. That's all you're gonna be good for is bum material. And so that's why I'm just like, I really don't have a choice at this point. This is what I have to do. I've really gotten in contact spiritually. I have my candle. I have my, I don't want to say what candle it is, but I do what I need to do to do my meditation and my different things like that. And I study and I studied my ancestors and who they are. We have a couple of ancestors like Shango and I can't remember all of the names right now, but we have ancestors that we can call on as Black people if you're ever concerned. And they took the name Jesus from Horus because that was one of our prophets from long ago. So all you need to do is look up names of ancient ancestors or ancestors for Black people and ancient gods for Black people, and just look that up. That's going to tell you who you are and what those different gods and goddesses did for, and so that'll help you out a little bit more, because the Bible just, after me reading it, I just can't go along with the story of Jonah being in the whale, because now, if you get caught up in a whale now, that's the wrap. There's no getting back out, resurfacing. You're in there with everything else that's in there. So I can't buy a lot of those stories, and that just was one, and then they backed it up with Pinocchio, okay? So you just got to really pay attention out here nowadays, and you got to, put two and two together, and you got to read between the lines on stuff, and you got to figure it out, and you got to say, is this really real? And the answer will come to you, and it'll say, no, it's not really real. This stuff is up here. That's why they got all of the movie stars and everything dancing in front of our face. It's to distract our attention from what's really going on, like the organ harvesting and the sex trafficking, And then I got somebody sent this to my DM where this Black girl, it was like recently, she had on her Jordan, she had her little weave in her hair, a little red and black. She was in this room, and it was these two white men. They had the Confederate flag in the background. They had a lynch, put it around her neck. She went in there like a champ. They hung her, they killed her, they ended the tape. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to really be careful. 4 years ago, my baby's father was in Houston, Texas. He was working for Just Energy, okay? That's where they sell natural energy. I used to sell natural energy out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And he said that they would drop them in different parts of Houston, Texas, okay? He said there's one part where they dropped them at. This white lady came to the door. They look like big old plantations. They look all big old properties, okay? She said, well, y'all best be getting from around here these times of the night. When the nightfall come, y'all best not be up out here. He said that their phones had died. Nobody had came back to come pick them up. Next thing you know, 2 18-wheelers had pulled up and was chasing them down. I guess the lady husband or whoever had seen them and knew that they was out there and went to go get them, or they had gave them a call that they got 2 niggers out there and they was going to go get them. And he said he was out there running for his life. They was trying to capture them, and Lord knows what they were going to do to them once they did get them. Okay, so that just happened less than, I'm going to say 4 years ago in Houston, Texas. And it was in those little parts. So if that's happening, it's still happening. You don't want to be a Black person just getting caught out here alone. And these white people got an attitude, and it's showing on their face, and we are in a race war right now.
Yes.
We are in a race war. If you go to the grocery store, that's why they was trying to do gun control, okay? Because I have dreams, and I had a dream that it was going to take place in Chicago, Illinois, and all of the Black people didn't have no guns, and the Ku Klux Klans, they was in all different types of Klans uniforms, and they was standing out in the middle of 63rd and Cottage Grove, all right down the middle of that street on the island. I don't know what's there right now. And they was coming to come inside of our homes, all right? And I was one of the folks that was out there trying to warn people, you better get your guns. We supposed to all be grouping up. We supposed to all be linking up. Black people right now is way too separated. We're way too divided. You got a black person over here, you got a black person over there, and you got a black person over there, and nobody wants to help each other out. You're on your own. I was living in this lady's house. I'm going to tell you something about me. After my daughter's dad told me to leave this house, I had a couple of people had kicked me out after that. One was my daughter's little godmother that had them. She kicked me and my baby out in front of my children. They were stepping over all of me and my baby stuff outside. And my daughters was running up and down the stairs when me and my daughter got kicked out because this lady sent them out to do that. Like a dirty dog, she did that. Black lady, just like me and you. All right? Moved from her house and went to stay with this other lady house. I was dating her son for a brief period of time, and I told her I didn't have no place to stay, so I was laying on the floor over there. And then I ended up running into my friend that I used to work with for 2 years. And then this guy that's from Aztec, he ended up helping me out, letting me live here. No strings attached. We don't have sex. We don't do none of that. He gave me his daughter's room, so I stay here. And it's just really a shame how, as black people, we just do not help each other out when we really need help. Or if you help a black person out, you're really not helping them. Mm-hmm. It's strings attached, and they're trying to get over on you. If you're being used, they're going to abuse you. And we shouldn't be that way because it's going to come a day and we doing this. We seeing the little black boys getting killed by the police. And we saying, well, that's Kanika Jenkins and Lamar Rice. Those are not our children, so it really doesn't concern me. That happened all the way over here in Florida or all the way over here in Chicago. That has nothing to do with me. And it does have something to do with you because that's a black baby, just like the little baby that you got at your house or just like you. That's your family. We are related. As long as we got the same skin color, we are related from state to state, country to country, region to region, worldwide. We are family. And it is our job to take care of each other and be responsible for each other and look out for each other and not use each other and not abuse each other and not take advantage of each other. That's our responsibility to make sure that our kids, whether it's your kids or my kids or their kids, to make sure that they're protected and they're safe. They're getting to school safely and nobody's picking them up and taking them away. We have allowed ourselves not to care, even though it isn't a spiritual awakening going on. It just seems like folks is just becoming blind or something like that. I mean, do your glasses work? Can you really see what's happening? Because if we do not stick together, they are going to come. That's why they did gun control. That's why they wanted gun control. One of the main reasons. And then I guess they said, I was listening to this girl online, and she was saying, well, the police came in, and the boys was flashing their guns online. If you want a gun, you can have as many guns as you want, okay? All you need to do is go down there and take an all-day class and get them registered and take you a gun class so you can learn how to properly shoot that thing. Take your gun class once a month. If you got a felony, wait until your record is, you can get it sealed and get you a gun. That's not a problem, but you got to do it the legal way. You got to do it so that the police can't just come and do something to you or take you to jail because you're sitting around here walking around with a burnout gun that you didn't bought off somebody off the street. Don't buy no gun up off the street. Buy your gun at a legitimate gun shop. If you don't have a record, you should have a gun. Or you
and it might have bodies on it. It might have bodies on it, and you get charged for those bodies.
Exactly. Exactly.
Whatever,
Yeah, and they're looking for that too. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to have a gun that's not registered. You want to have a gun that's registered, and you want to be responsible with that gun that you have. You may not have no criminal record. You may not have ever been arrested. You may sell drugs. You may be involved in a gang. But guess what? You can get a gun, okay? You can still get a gun. I don't recommend that you are selling drugs or you're doing all that stuff, but you can still get a gun, and you don't have to have one that's illegal. Because if you get caught with a gun that's illegal, you're going to go to jail, and you're going to get a gun charge, and you're going to fall into the program and into the system that they want you to fall in, and it's called behind bars getting pumped in the booty, because that's what they want you to do. Okay? So that's just, my take on it. But they are coming. All right.
Oh, yes.
Just recently, the Ku Klux Klans and the Aryan skinheads, I think, had a falling out because they wasn't getting on the same page. Okay. So they had a falling out, and they even killed some of their own people. That's how serious that they are about gaining control back over the black people, and that starts with us not having guns in our possession, okay? Because that's how they took us the first time. We didn't know nothing about a gun. They had a gun, and guess what? They shot us, pow. And then guess what? Everybody else that seen it said, whoa, that one's dead, so why wouldn't we have a gun today? Why would we listen to what they're talking about? Why wouldn't we go pick us up a gun? And then in the dream, that's what I saw. Nobody had guns. Nobody had covering. Nobody had protection. We was just all out here separated and divided, and they was coming to get us, and they was taking us down one by one, household by household. And I'm out here in Nevada, so about back in 2013, they had this big thing where they were selling guns all over the valley. I mean, they wasn't leaving nothing but barrels out there on the ground, because that's how many sellouts they was having with all of these guns. Folks was buying up guns left and right. You want to know why? Because they already know that something is taking place. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be big, and it's going to be serious, and it already is, and that's why folks is disappearing out the blue. They just disappearing. What do you think?
Well, there are two trends of thought. You mean as far as the gun thing? Well, they're going to push to have the weapons taken away, or to persuade us to give up weapons so we can be vulnerable for when the government moves in. But the government doesn't want to waste its resources, so turn us against each other. First of all, I hate to say it, how, many of us have not been responsible in how we treat each other. And that's to the delight of the oppressor. It makes it easier for him. But their numbers are off the chain too. So I'm not even going to say that whole black on black thing. I'm not going to say that. But their numbers and statistics, they're killing each other. They're shooting cops. They're doing everything that they say we do, but worse. But when you take statistics, you can cut around it. It's like when you go to the pizza joint and you eat the pizza, but you leave the crust. You can cut around it and create your own dynamic and scenario by selectively choosing certain statistics and reporting it a certain way. But it makes it easier for the government. The government wants to move on in. They love a race war, right? So we can kill each other off, and they can move on in.
They can put us on martial law.
Exactly. In the FEMA death camps, they have all these coffins and caskets and different things. So it is imperative that we extend or have more options of living elsewhere, not running, but preserving ourselves, because the traps are being set. And with Trump building this wall,
well, they say that the FEMA camps is right down there at the Walmarts.
Yeah. And I
They're
believe
right here in the city.
Yeah, and I believe there are things underground being built. There are a lot of things going on that we don't see. We have a friend of ours that he's a truck driver, and he saw all of these FEMA vehicles. I don't know what they look like, but big trucks and 18-wheelers, and some open-ended where they had military equipment, vehicles, and lots of these caskets, right? That can fit about 5 bodies, right? So what's going to happen, right? We just don't know, but it's going to happen. It's something, and black people across the board are more spiritual, more connected, even when they're in their downtrodden state, even when they're out there doing chemicals or going through stuff. We're still the antennas, the spiritual antennas of the world. We're the original people. We've been downgraded and degraded, yes, but we can. Look, how old is Michael Jordan right now? He's in his 50s, right? Late 50s, going on 60
Yeah.
probably, or whatever. But he can still beat 95% of the population in basketball, waking up out of his sleep. Mike Tyson, he's up there now. He's getting up there now. But who's going to mess with him? You know what I mean? So even in his degraded state, they're still better and more equipped and more skilled than others.
Right.
And that's how we are as black people, even though they look at us and, oh, you're crackhead, you're a wino, you're a whore, you're this, you're that. You're messed
still
up,
operating at a higher mental intellect than most of the people.
I've had people jump on my bus that I know had severe mental issues, severe emotional issues from when I worked in the jail, and I got to know for a couple of years a lot of these guys, you know, and I know some what medication they take, some of them, but they'll sit there and they're trying their best to communicate to me, and I'm understanding them, but they're a little off, and then they'll break out with something just so brilliant, like, wow, you on point, brother, because you see, it's like that set of Christmas lights that has a short in it. You plug it in, it don't work, but you move the cord and it flashes. It still works, but with damage, right? So they know this about us. So this is why they have to come after us so hard, because they know that we are the strongest. The environment is backs us up. The planet backs us up. They don't have that connection. They're watered down.
The sun is backing us up.
Yeah, exactly. And the sun is the source of all life. That's why when they say in Christianity, you must have a relationship with the sun. Well, what they're really trying to say, and really mask it, we're focused on the religion, but we need to have a relationship with the sun. The sun feeds us. It feeds those plants.
Yes.
It keeps us warm.
Yep.
The sun gives us nutrients physically that the white man hasn't discovered yet. And it gives us instructions. It gives us things to do. We have to have a direct line of sight with the sun so we can program ourselves to know righteously what it is that we need to do. They can't take the sun because they're not natural. They're not natural to this place.
No. The sun will blow their scalp off. I'm just saying, it's going to blow their heels off.
And they
can't handle it. I was talking to a...
Right, to not go out there.
No. I'm going to take my vitamin D and I'm going to get some sun. But they want to trick you so that you don't spend too much time in the sun, because they know that that's where we generate power from. But I thank God, because I had been inside for 15 years. Now I work construction, so I'm in direct contact with that sun beaming on my head, and I be feeling good. I be feeling full of energy, and it's like where they sit me at, I be directly in the sun. I don't trip, because I'm getting my vitamin D, plus I'm taking my nutrients and stuff like that too. But that's the most purest thing that we can get, and that's what they're talking about, the sun. And if you think about it, the Pope has, the Dalai Lama? Who is that? That black, they worship the black mother god. White men are in love with a black, dark-skinned woman, somebody that would try to make fun of and say that she crispy. They be wanting that woman in their dreams and they sleep. They love our women.
But understand, they do. But check it out. Look all through slavery. Look who raised the the white families. The
black woman off that milk.
That mammy. Yeah, she nursed the white child. She gave advice to the slave master's wife on how to take care of the slave master. And at nighttime, the slave master didn't even knock on the door. He just pushed the door in to have sex with her. And that's not a good thing. But what I'm saying is that the black woman has been the backbone. And this is why even in the current modern media, we see that there's a slot open for that mammy. And that's Oprah Winfrey. They love her because she's an extension.
Oh yeah, they want her to be the president.
Well, what I'm saying is that she's an extension of that black woman who wasn't threatening, you see, who didn't really acknowledge the black man, but was there for them. Like, oh, let's go to Oprah and let's see what she says. You see, so she's nursing them white families,
the white
women.
community.
Exactly. She started out with us, but she went on to them.
Well, her agenda was for the white the white, more so female community. It wasn't ever geared towards, but then it was also to attract the black women. But if you notice, Oprah Winfrey hasn't had, Stedman is supposed to be a homosexual at the end of the day.
Of course. He's a cardboard paper cutout of a man, an imagery.
Right. He ain't even a black man. He's supposed to look like he mixed with white to some degree. Right. But they never showed them in a full-blown relationship where they were actually together. And you're right about that.
Well, look, Gail is a woman. We know this.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gail is her woman. And that's what they want to try to, it pisses me off so bad because when I go to Walmart and I look when they show like the little carrier pack or they show a family together, they always show a black man, a white woman, and a little mixed kid. This is the program that they're trying to set out there. And then they show the black woman with the kid, with the baby by themselves. And I don't want to say kid because kid is a goat, with the child by herself. This is what they continuously show, and this is what they continue to implant in our mind, that this is the way that it is supposed to be. But there is still a way to beat the system. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's still a way to beat the system, and it is getting in touch with who you are and with learning who you are. And, I mean, we just covered so many different things today. I mean, that it's just, it really is amazing, but they do try to show the black woman to be independent of the black man and to not even focus on him, you know, treat him like whatever. Mm-hmm. You're making more money than him. What do you need him for? Right. Maybe for penetration, but you could just have sex with yourself. That's what they try to shoot. That's what they'll try to, that's what they give us. And that's what they say what it is. But all I know, if I could send one message more than anything, it would be to just watch your surroundings and guard yourself, guard your family. If you got black friends, get close, because it's getting ready to, it's already happening. They taking folks. You got to watch your people, and they finna get bold. They said that they've been coming in packs and groups, and then when I talk to people, they say, yeah, it was just a whole bunch of people over there, you know, they're waiting to pick people up right now. And I'm like, what the hell? That's not normal. You know what I'm saying? That is not normal that you got a group of people waiting over on the side of the road. And it's crazy because I was working construction the other day and I got stranded outside. Got stranded outside the day before yesterday. That will not happen again because I got friends I could contact. But I was out there working construction in this Chinese vehicle. It looked like a Chinese church vehicle, but I don't read Chinese. It kept riding back and forth through the construction site, just back and forth. It kept changing drivers, and it kept riding back and forth, and it kept looking over there where we were, where I was, I'll say that, just kept looking. And like I said, be real careful, because if they'll pick up a dog and they'll pick up a cat, and you see how people love these little animals and stuff, and they, oh, I love my cat, let me buy the cat some clothes, and they'll kill your cat and they'll kill your dog, what you think they're going to do to you? They're looking, they're trying to see who's vulnerable, they're trying to see what sheep is not with the rest of the flock, because if you're African American and you're rolling with 15 people a day, it's going to be kind of hard for them to just slip in and get you, but they will slip in and get a straggler, though. Somebody that don't have nobody to run to, somebody that, you know, when you talk to them, they don't never talk about no family and stuff like that. So you want to try to get connected with folks as much as you can to keep yourself out of the way. Like, I don't know, like they building FEMA camps and stuff like that. Like, I mean, how do you protect yourself from something like that? I've been having so many people hit me up on Facebook, and this man hit me up on Facebook yesterday, and my friend told me, he was like, block them, because they got like different sites on Facebook where, you know, it's for adults only sites or whatever, groups. And I had just made a comment, even though, you know, I'm in my celibacy stage, and it was a comment on anal or whatever. And then it had, like, you know, 4 different pictures up there. Which one are you? You know what I'm saying? So I had marked a little picture or whatever. And then this white man had responded. He said, oh, if it was me, you would be at a 4. So I said, okay. And because, see, I be checking folks out, you know what I'm saying, to see what's really going on with them. So I said, well, hey, you know, send me a picture. So he sends me a picture. I said, send me a picture. Send me your face. Send me a picture of your face and what you got going on with yourself. Let's see that. And he laughed and he said, LOL. And I said something about where I was at. And he was like, oh, I'll see you there soon. And then my friend was like, block them. You got to be careful with your locations on your phone. If you're talking to folks that is online, you got to make sure your location on Facebook and your location on your phone is off, because I do believe that is a way, because the craziest thing about it on Facebook, and I know that Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg knows this, that feature is how people are getting snatched and picked up. That's why they put it there, because maybe to some degree, and I'm going to talk about the presidency a little bit too with Oprah Winfrey and Michelle Obama, maybe to some degree, they are all working together.
Of course.
Now,
that's what they call it, Facebook.
Right. So with that being said, going to Oprah Winfrey and Michelle Obama, I believe, now this is the thing, because Queen Elizabeth sits on the throne in England, and that means something, okay? That means that as long as Queen Elizabeth sits on the throne in England, there cannot be, well, from my understanding, I don't know how long she's been on the throne. I know we've had 55. This is, what president is this? This is our 55th president?
Oh, the 45th president.
This is our 44th president.
And
I heard to some degree that as long as Queen Elizabeth is on the throne, there will not be a woman president.
Oh, really?
Once she dies, and her grandson is supposed to get the throne, because I think she's not giving it to her son, then there can be a woman president in the United States of America. Queen Elizabeth's getting pretty old. I think she's in her 90s right now. So I think she's about to go ahead and, kick that bucket soon. But if you notice, all of the presidents have to go to Queen Elizabeth to do a meet and greet once they are elected as president.
Isn't that something? And these are things that...
because she has a lot of power.
Wow.
Huh?
Well, I'm just saying that's amazing, but, it shows you how interconnected all of this is. With the Pope.
Yeah.
With the Queen, the so-called Queen. America feels so mighty and powerful, but their powers that have been in place long before America came into existence as far as the political system, even though the land was always here. When they got here, it shows you. And what I heard was that the Queen controls the money. America they're the police of the world, and Rome, the Pope, they influence all spiritual thought or religious thought, not spiritual. So it's all a facade, but they're all connected together.
And they're gay. Yeah. And they're gay, and they're molesting little boys for years and years and years. And when you see the little pictures, when you see the little statues, it's all geared towards homosexuality. And that's where pedophilia first began at, and it's just so perverse how they even was talking about with Queen Elizabeth. They had a young girl that did a documentary, and they're saying that they were eating little children and stuff. What's that? It's a couple of movies that came out, Hunger Games and that movie Missing. Those things, from my understanding, what I believe is that they actually do exist. They do actually kidnap girls. They do actually sell them on the black market for sex, and they drug them until they're dead, and then they get rid of them, and then they buy the next one.
Sacrifices.
Yes. And they actually, sacrifices, sacrificing babies, hunting, down folks. Like I said, what was happening with my baby's father, they just saw that as wild game in the community. They looked at them like they were wild deers, and they were lions, and they were pretty much trying to go at them and get them, and they had to run for their lives, you know. And this is the stuff that's going on in Chicago. They were showing where they was dressing up in fake black costumes and going in and just shooting off rounds in the liquor store, wherever it was black people at, because there's black people all over the community, just dressing up, putting on a fake black arm and a fake black mask, and just going in and shooting folks and killing them and taking them out of the game. You're out, you know. And so it's a lot of stuff going on right now. But I don't know what's the significance and why they have to meet with the Queen. But I do know that a couple of oceans are named. They own a couple of oceans. So when you're talking about a person that owns a couple of oceans, that's they got that money, and they can do whatever it is that they like.
Because boats and cargo and things that we need have to go over the waters. And guess what? They're going to get paid for that. Sitting down.
Right.
Just sitting down, they're going to get paid for that. Who owns oceans? Right. Are they God? It's amazing how they have this world carved up, really, for their benefit. You can't even make a move. Anything you do in your personal life, you got to pay somebody. This is not the way the Creator intended it. We're all strung up, and some people say, "Well, I'm free. I got a good job, nice car, nice home." Okay, don't work. No. You go into a plantation. How long can you live without going out to work when you work for somebody else? And even when you work for yourself.
Look. I couldn't work just for a little bit of time, and I got booted out on the curb in the wintertime with my baby. I had to do, you can file for child support on somebody. They don't realize, they don't get the concept that, hey, it's cheaper to go ahead and help your baby mom out and try to help her get back on her feet versus you get on child support, she get back on her feet. Now she got her own personal money, and then she's finna get your money. And then if you don't go to work and you don't keep making money, you're going to go to jail unless something happens and like you kill her, like stuff like that be happening, and she just disappears, and then you have to take care of your child and you don't have to pay child support anymore. So, no. You know what I'm saying? And it's a shame because black mothers really need to be at home taking care of their children, but I never voted for Women's Live. And I think that black women went along with that program because I guess that was maybe the only choice that we had. Either we were joining it or we were against it. That's what I think. Because we're here in the United States, so if we're not standing up for Women's Live or women's rights, then we're still deciding to be in a slave position, which we didn't realize. Even though we signed up for voters' rights, we're still in a slave position anyway. It's not changing. It's just the fact that we're saying, yeah, we agree with this. We really don't have a choice or have a say, but then we really do. We don't even know how powerful we are. They said they used to put muzzles on the black slave's mouth back in the day because that black slave woman would be praying and these slave owners will fall down dead. So, and then if they would talk or they would say anything, their tongues and all that stuff and their mouth would get all cut up. So if they would do that to us, and then over time, of course, we just forget who we are and we just say, you don't know, we don't remember that's who we are. Now we praying against each other and we saying, Lord, get her and get him, when we have bigger demons that we need to be talking about right now. And we need to be focused on and taking a look at, because if we don't look at these demons, they're going to wipe out our generations to come. And that's what they're trying to do right now. So when they somehow they don't want to go back to Africa, I feel like we need to take a look at that. And a lot of us that do know what English is and we do know what's going on in the United States will be of a great help and a great service to a lot of the African communities that's out there, because they don't know what's going on and they're selling out for a few pennies on the dollar. That's not going to really mean anything at the end of the day when you don't own nothing no more and your family can't even put a tent over there at some point because you didn't gave it up. because you want to be greedy and you want to be selfish and you want to think about yourself right now because you're a dictator in that state or in that country for right now, but you're not thinking about the next dictator. You don't even give a rat about your future communities. You just give a care about your family for right now, when your family is the people that you're selling off. Didn't they say something was happening in Libya? Aren't they being transported and they're being put in slavery right now?
Yes, yes. And certain media is not going to cover it.
I mean, what they doing with these people? Are they trans? Are these people making it out, or are they just taking them and
they're using
taking
them
their organs?
Yeah, they're using them for that. Like I said, we are the junkyard of the world, meaning that whatever's needed by these other races, cultures, and countries, they come to us and strip us for it. Because look at it, even here in America, we're considered 3/5 of a human being, right? So why not take us for sex and organs?
Of a human being.
No, I know we're not.
No, I know.
But you know what? They
don't even know who we are.
They're not human beings. They're watered down. They say that we're 3/5 of a human being, but they're telling on themselves. They say we're descendants of monkeys and have monkey DNA, but they're telling on themselves.
No, they're what they call them, marsapians or marsapians. That's what they are. And nobody has to tell them that. They already know that's what they are. I was looking at something where they were standing on all fours at one point. They're the ones that have sex with animals. That's who they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're not full humans, and we're going along with it. What's that thing they was talking about? Because for one point, they would
do something to a dog. They
don't like animals like that.
Human being.
Yeah.
They make fun of our head, but we don't grow from.
You could get hit out there on the side of the road, and they do a hit and run on you. Let little Fluffy go out there. They gonna go, and the paramedics is gonna come pick them up, take them down into the emergency room, perform life support on them and everything, try to save his life, bring him back.
That's right. Michael Vick knows it all too well.
I hope is there anything like in the works? Because I heard Ghana was trying to get us down there, but then it was like, that's a scam. And then you got people from Nigeria scamming and trying to get people's money. I done got hit up by them a few times trying to get $500. That's their keyword, $500.
No, well, you don't deal with anybody over the internet like that. The bottom line is that there are legitimate things going on in Ghana, but whenever you have something legitimate going on, you're going to have a duplicate looking things happening also to catch you on the sidelines. But, I'm not going to say people's names or people that I'm connected with, whatever, but, we're going to find out about what's going on in Ghana very soon, directly. And, there are legitimate things going on out there. And you just have to see for yourself. I'm not saying you saying it like that, like I'm pushing you off. I'm just saying in general, anything you do, you have to see it for yourself. And when it's distance like that, and when it's people that are not accountable over the internet and these email addresses, none of that. That's not to happen,
Right.
But we have to investigate those things ourselves. And I have people very close to me who are doing just that very, 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 very soon. So we'll see. And but the way will be made for us as a people, as long as we stay connected as long as we do what we're supposed to do the original way and break the shackles of what this system of white supremacy put on us, and how many of us foolishly run toward these deceptions and illusions that keep us bound. And we are powerful. We're not enslaved to this thing. It's just that in our mind, we don't think there's a way out, and we stay put. We stay in one spot. We don't try. We're going against each other. We need our collective energy, like when you would see the African rain dance many years ago. Collective energy, knowing how to move as one, massaging the sky, and they see the need of what you're calling for, and all of a sudden rain comes down. We're powerful. We are connected to nature. Like
when did that happen?
So I'm just saying that's in our culture. I mean, that's what we did. Just like when you say that the black woman would speak against the slave master and he dropped down dead, they don't want us to know that. They want us praying to something outside of ourselves that doesn't look like us, and taking our energy that way and our money.
Right.
But if we look within and get back into what we are supposed to be doing collectively, they can't touch us. But we don't even have to touch them. They would just drop down.
We don't even have to touch them. They will die. I firmly believe that because for myself, I done got myself into a lot of dangerous situations. I done had guns pulled out to my head and different things like that. Mm-hmm. And for myself, I know that I am here for a purpose, and I know that I am protected and that my ancestors watch over me. And when you know that, and you rely on them for your support, you just call on them and they will be right there for you. I believe that I don't have a shadow of a doubt that I believe that, because I could have been dead on many of occasions. I could still be dead right now, but that is not going to be allowed to take place because there is something that needs to happen for me, something that I need to do. And, even after I do it, I'm still going to receive my protection because I know too much, I see too much, and I feel too much. All right. So that is all I know, is that I love my people. I do love my people, but I do know that a lot of my people don't have love for themselves. They don't know who they are. And we have to do self-education. A lot of my friends on social media get upset because they're like, well, is Anna a Christian or is she not a Christian? Because I will throw something out there at them. And it did take me a long time to go ahead and denounce the faith of Christianity, and then it's getting to the point to where I had wrote 60 gospel songs, but I don't care about any of that, to the point to where it's just going to be blatant, like, that is dumb. You're sitting up there praying and you're believing in this, and it's still haven't got you nowhere. Don't get me wrong. When you pray to this little deity or whatever that's called Jesus and all that stuff, some little things happen for you, but it's not going to happen for you. What's going to happen for you more greater is when you start believing in your ancestors and you start communicating and you start talking with them. That's when something's really going to happen for you, huh? To your ancestors that was killed, that was taken out, to the kings, to the queens that was there, that was standing, that helped build lands, that controlled 4 civilizations, that got taken out, to them, to the ones that was there when these folks first came over and said, we're going to go ahead and start taking them out slowly. When you start talking to those folks, to Lamar Rice, to all these little children that's losing their lives right now and different things like that, those are our angels. Those are our ancestors. Those are the people that went to bat for us and that were sacrificed and that have sacrificed their lives for us. Mm-hmm. And we act like we forgot. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X just died. They didn't die too long ago. It ain't been that long.
Exactly.
What are we doing?
Exactly.
Everybody wants to be a pimp now. Everybody wants to be a hoe, and it is really with the black woman and the black man, and that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're losing focus. We act like we forgot that the black family was together taking care of each other. Mm-hmm. We had each other's back. Right. We was fighting for something. But I think we did get confused because we was fighting for civil rights, and we've been fighting for all this stuff when we shouldn't have been fighting. We should have been taking it. And they were talking about, black people are savages. They are doing this. We are savages. We're sitting still, and we're looking at all of this stuff, and we're acting like we're just not affected, and we're trying to act like we're nice and we're humble, and then once your cousin come up to you and say something, you're ready to punch them in the face and shoot them and kill them.
I say we need to be savages. They say we are. We need to be on them because they've been savages messing up the world wherever they go. So we're supposed to sit there docile and just take it.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm a savage.
What they want. Yeah, no, I'm a be. You call me one, I'm a be one. You see what I mean?
Exactly. I went to jail.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let me tell you something. This white lady was picking on me when I had went to jail. and she was known for bullying black girls, okay? And I had prayed for her and everything like that. And then I was eating, and I was eating a lot. I had asked her for some food or whatever. So the next morning she said, "You don't sit over here at this table anymore. You sit over there at that table." And here's the thing, this is the jail rule, Don't let nobody punk you, because if they punk you, they're going to always try to keep coming back punking you. Now, she didn't know me. I didn't get chased with knives in Chicago. I didn't got cut in my face with knives. You'll never know, because my skin regenerated and you can't see no cut marks on my face, period. I didn't got chased with girls on knives while I was running on ice out in Chicago. You understand? That's what we did. We didn't have a whole side of the street come onto the other side of the street for a gang fight, and I was in, somebody just punched me in the head out the blue, and then you just got to slip into beast mode. I tried to bite their finger off and stuff like that. I was known for biting people when I was a youngster and trying to defend myself and get them up off of me anyway. I'll bite you like I was a dog, okay, until one time I had a classmate that was HIV positive, and I thank God that I never got into it with Felicia, because that would have been the end of all things. But we had a mutual respect for each other, so I thank God for that. But the little white lady, she said I went in the room and I was with my bunkie, and she said I told her she had 2.5 seconds to get up from the table or I was gonna knock her ass out. That's what she told the the folks in the cell. Okay, she told all of the people that was on our level that we was grouping with, so they thought I was scared. I'm in the room, all right. I already got told that. My ex-husband, he didn't know where the children was at because CPS had picked them up. And he told me that he lost the house. We had just moved into a 4-bedroom house. The house is gone. And he told me the cars were gone, all right? So in my mind, and then my boss had told me I had 2 weeks to show back up to work. If not, I'm being terminated. That's it. So in my mind, that was like, whoa, I was frustrated. I was very angry. I was upset. I was irritated. I was trying to do the right thing, but I wanted to go off. That's all I knew was fighting my whole life. So when something happens bad or you're irritated, you either start screaming or you're going to put hands on somebody. So the white girl kept messing with me. I didn't come out on the second break, okay? So I was really looking like a punk at this point. I was really looking bad. They was like, man, she is scared. She's not even coming out on break to talk to nobody. She just going to stay up in her room. My bunkie was like, you know what, you a black girl. You're going to sit up there and let a white girl punk you. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody got no respect for nobody like that. Pretty much that's what she was telling me. She not knowing, like, I'm breaking down. I'm ready to whoop somebody. I'm ready to hurt somebody, okay? So I said it in my mind. I started praying. I said, I'm finna knock her ass out. That's what my prayer was, I'm finna knock her out. She finna get messed up. This is what's finna happen to her. I step outside the dorm. She runs up to me. Yeah, what's up, B? We bump titties and all that. And then she steals on me in the face. Thank God I let her steal on me first and that everybody seen it. After she stole on, I had a pen in my hand, because in jail they give you those little pens that you can that you write with, but you can hold them in the palm of your hand and ball up your fist. Stabbed her in the face with it. Bow. Start punching her in her face. Punching her in her face until blood just started coming out everywhere. I did not stop punching her in her face, and I started punching her all in her nose. Broke her jaw, broke her nose. She still hopped up. I don't know how the hell she hopped up, because I thought I had took her down. I took off my slippers was already on the floor, the little orange ones that you get in county. Slapped her motherfucking ass like I was an old slave from back in the day. Pow! They was like, Anna, are you? We went to. She was like, why you do that to me? Wow. And the next day it was my birthday. All right, and the black guard said, happy birthday. He said, you feel better now? I said, I feel great. And the lady, one of the ladies that was in there for murder had asked me, she was like, are you okay? She was like, but they was like, Anna, but the sandal? You had to slap her in the face with the sandal. I took that sandal, and I felt like I was an old slave that had came up, because if you fighting a white person, you got to represent. You got to represent. I have an uncle that went to prison for life for murdering 2 police officers for spitting on his wife. No, the old white lady spit on his wife. His name was Jamaji. He went to prison for life. And he killed them police officers, you know, and then the family tried to make him. That's a motherfucking hero. That's not what you talking about. Y'all don't want to talk about him no more because he killed the police, because the police is out here killing us. And we letting them kill us. They rolling up on folks, and folks ain't even got no gun. Folks got a pencil in their hand, finna write down somebody's number, and the police is shooting them in their back, shooting them in their head, taking them out left and right.
Well, look at it this way. Look at it this way. Look at these so-called patriotic white Americans who are celebrating the lives of their war generals who have killed countless thousands of people in war, and they celebrate them and salute them and treat them with the highest honor, and in nothing more than killers. You know, so
nothing more than killers. They went over there to Vietnam and all that stuff to take something from those people.
Here you have somebody who's defending and who you spit on their. Come on, man. You know, he wasn't a predator in that situation, but they want to keep trying you. But then, like you said, like saying they go to war and they're looked at as heroes. So what kind of double standard is that? I don't care who doesn't like it, who hears it, because this is the way I speak all the time.
Right. You know? No. That's a hero. My uncle was a hero.
Exactly.
Because I don't know where you thought that you could just spit on somebody and that was okay. And then it was another situation where I saw this little white lady walked up to this black woman's car because she threw some trash out the car. And I always like to get and say something. And I said, I don't know where the hell where are they doing this at? You don't ever hop outside of your car and walk up to my car, open up your door. I said, if you walk up to my door, you probably gonna get knocked the hell out, because I'm not going for that. If I throw something out on the trash on the ground and you don't like it, now what you could do is you could roll by, pick it up, and throw it in the trash on your own. But under no circumstances is a little white woman going to walk up to my door and open up the door and put some trash back in my car. I would have to punch your glasses in. That might happen to you, and I might roll off in the sunset. But I'm not letting no folks just do whatever they want to do to me. And I can't wait till I could get a gun again, because I'm not saying I'm just go out here and shoot nobody, but I'm just not the person to be played. You just don't play around around my way. Just don't do it. You know, it's nobody coming on my property just doing whatever they want to do. I'm not going to just let nobody take me and put me in some unmarked vehicle. It's not going to happen. And then they say if the police pull you over, you honestly don't even know if that's the police or not, because you got people that's fake playing the police. You wait till you get back to where you can see other people at, and then you pull over and you call the police and say, I have a vehicle here pulling me over. Can you go ahead and, you know, let them know that I have contacted the police, because I'm not sure if I want to open up my door to this vehicle. But you want to call the police and let the police know that they pulled you over anyway, because you don't know what that police might do to you. That could be a raper, because they had on something on Dr. Phil, and I don't know how true it was, but they had an episode, and I was really trying to see it, where this police officer was eating and killing women. And supposedly he had him on Dr. Phil. I said, damn, what happened to that? I wanted to watch that episode because I wanted to see that, because I wanted to see this person that's just a sick monster that we just got out here in the community, and they letting these folks on the police force. And they are sick and demonic, and they doing all types of stuff. And we are calling these folks protectors and heroes, and they out here molesting kids. And another one the other day, he just got picked up because he was doing sexual abuse to animals. And this is supposed to be a police. So no, some of them do need to be shot and killed. And some of them are going to be shot and killed because folks are getting really fed up with people just getting shot for whatever. They shot this man, he on the roof, just standing on the roof on his cell phone, shot him all up. Didn't even say, put your hands up. What you got in your hand? Put your hands down. Just start shooting. Because he was a black man. And I don't appreciate how they treat black men and how they talk to black men. It's really out of line. But black men still have to carry themselves with a certain type of dignity, because it could just be an attitude or anything that could get you shot. But on the same token, like I said, a lot of them really do need to be taken on, but you got to be smart though. You can't be just all over the place. You can't be a dummy. You can't have a quick temper. You got to conduct yourself professionally. And check this out, because I got pulled over. I had 2 warrants out for my arrest. All right. One was for lying to the police. One was for a little traffic ticket that I had, okay? And my license was suspended. And I had a back tail light out. And my front window was cracked. And you know what the police told me after they pulled me over? We're not going to be petty. We're going to go ahead and let you go. Just make sure you take care of your business. Wow. All right? Because it was all about how I respected myself. And I respected them, but then I had a authority about myself that, you know, I'm not doing anything wrong. They said, well, where are you going? I was actually going to the library to go drop some books off, and the books was right there in the front seat. So, you know, I mean, that was just me. That just happened to me. I can't say that's going to happen to you, but I know I didn't break down, start crying, looking for pity or sympathy from them. If they were going to give me a ticket, I was ready for it, but I still showed them respect at the end of the day. And they drove away. I didn't have no tickets, period. So that's all I'm saying. You know, don't be aggressive, but I've seen on certain instances where the police will tell somebody to get down, they didn't get down quick enough, and then they kick them in the head or they do something to them. Them is the folks that need to be shot. Them the police officers that need to be shot, and something needs to happen to them because they don't have respect for human life. And I don't respect people like that. I don't like it. It makes me sick when I hear about a young black boy yet again getting killed, or all of these folks is coming up missing. That's why I'm trying to tell y'all, if the police pull you over, go ahead and call the police, because you don't know if that's a police or not. Exactly. And you don't know what their intentions is for you on that day. Just because they got a police and they got a badge and all that stuff don't mean that you got to engage in conversation. They just killed this black girl, I think, earlier this year because she wouldn't get out of her car. They snatched her and her baby out the car. Now they snatching babies out of the hands of their mothers. It almost made me cry, because I said I didn't went up to the place to get food stamps and stuff like that, and then I guess it was too overcrowded, and the mother had her baby in her arms, and she sat down on the curb, so they called the police on her, and then the police came, they snatched the baby out of her arms, put her in jail, and took her child because she was tired. I got a 20-pound baby, and if I'm standing up for too long, my back gonna get the hurt, and I gotta sit down and get a rest somewhere or have somebody hold my baby, because the babies, if you're already 150 pounds and you're carrying another 20 pounds, you're going to get tired. So what are they doing this for? And the police did that to her. Now those are polices that I feel need to get dealt with. They need to get handled. They need to get their ass whooped because they're out of line for doing that to a mother and then banning her from getting food stamps ever again. So now how's she going to take care of her kids? Unless somebody helps her or she receives some divine assistance to get some help, they just messed her whole situation up right there because she was tired and she was frustrated. And a lot of black mothers know if you get frustrated, my patience get real short. And then it's crazy because a lot of folks don't understand that you may be tired, you may be standing for hours, and then now that you get an attitude, they say, oh, you got an attitude? You a black woman with an attitude? Well, what's wrong with you? Why you got an attitude? I'm tired. Everybody get tired. We're not robots. We're human beings. We get tired. They trying to say, oh, you're a strong black woman. Okay, but that don't mean that I don't get tired and I don't get an attitude and I don't feel like what some people are talking about is BS sometimes, and I call them on it. Or what they're doing or their actions of what they're doing is BS, and they get caught on it. So I just feel like it's just a lot of discrimination towards the black women. and the black men and our children, period. Like, I have my friend, he could stand at my window, white people walking up and down the sidewalk trying to see what he doing. He ain't, if you have a question, ask a question. What do you need to know something? We just got to be, are you still there?
I'm still here. I'm letting you roll.
Okay. I just feel that we have to, that's okay. I just feel that we have to be bolder. We're just letting them do things to us. And then what they're doing, what we're allowing them to do to us is heinous and it's obscene, it's disgusting, and we're letting a lower entity being do it. And we're letting them get away with it. And we're going on like it's okay. And it's not okay. And they say we savages, that's what we are. I know I am. I know that if I had to, and if it really came down to it, and I had to take somebody down, you know what I'm saying, that's what I would have to do. And I wouldn't feel nothing about it. And that's what it's getting ready to come to. Mm-hmm. Huh? Exactly. Because that's what's supposed to happen. And we supposed to be doing that. If it really comes down to it, that's what we're supposed to do. And you don't need to cry about it. You don't need to feel sad about it. You need to just do it. That's what's going to happen. It's going to just be like what they did, that Nike, the Nikes that they just talked about, they was burning the Nikes. You're going to have to just do it. That's what you're going to have to do. That's what we all going to have to do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because that's what they doing to us. They just doing it. I talked to this little white man. I had blocked him because he had pissed me off. And he said, well, they have all of those little people in India out here, and now he's the CEO over Nike, advertisement. And I said, well, they always had them little Indian people out there working for $2. So what's the difference between them working for $2 now and working for $2 then? That's what they're choosing to do. When the little white man was running the company, they was still doing it. So now that a black man is on the label, you want to discuss this topic, you could just shut the hell up. It's nothing to talk about. If you want to burn your shoes, because a black man's on the label now. But his face is supposed to be on a lot of things now because he's the most powerful entity on this planet next to the black woman. Y'all took us over here. Like I said, it's nothing for us to, we have to be so smart about a lot of different things. And all you got to do, you see how they handle themselves, you see how they conduct yourself, pull your pants up. Stop sagging your pants, because that's only showing them that you're homosexual. You ain't got to sleep with no man, even though I know why my brothers are homosexual, because he hate women. That's what, and it's not, I'm going to say that it's not his fault.
I mean, what's your take on that from beginning to end? I mean, like, what are the things that, because that's a controversial topic right now. I've done some videos on some things, and, folks agree, and some chew me out. But your take, firsthand experience,
my take on it, my brother was abused by my mother, and he didn't have a black man in the household. The black man was not in that household to show him how to conduct himself as a man.
When you say abuse, when I say abuse,
I say verbal abuse and physical abuse. My mom was very abusive. She would call us all types of names. I don't know how graphic I could get. I don't know if I could use profanity. I'm trying to respect.
Of course you can. I'm just saying. No. This is a raw channel.
Dicks, assholes, sluts, motherfuckers, stupid. Everything that you could think of, she did that to us. I got hit in the face with belt buckles, the rods that you hang your curtains up with. She would just get mad, defrost the refrigerator, clean out the stove. If we didn't do it fast enough, she'd be, pick this up, pick that up, pick this up. That's what I remember growing up. She did that same thing to my brother, call them faggots, faggot this, faggot that, motherfuckers. And then because I was abused too, I was a very abusive type of person, okay? Right. So when I was growing up, I remember my mama told me I had to potty train my brother, and my mom would try to get me to engage with her in this mental abuse of calling my brother names. And because I wanted to kind of like be on my mom's good side, I would do it. But I left my mama's house when I was 17 years old because I was like, I'm going to end up me end up taking her out the game because, you know, she's doing a lot of shit and it's starting to mess with my mind. And I started to get real bitter and hatred towards her to where I would just go off and I have beat my mom up about 2 good times. And then I was like, I don't want to do that to my mom, so it'll be better for me to just get away from her and stay away from her. My brother never moved away. He is still living with her right now to this day. He does not like black women at all. He despises us. I had to dress, I told him, I said, I don't give a damn if you don't love me or not. I still love you, even though you're my brother. But I have went back and apologized to him for the abuse that I took out against him because I did not realize that I didn't realize what it was I was doing. I was young, and first of all, I was angry, and I didn't have anywhere else to channel that energy at. So I did it on to somebody that was close to me, and that was my brother. And he told me first of all, his father wasn't okay either. So with him, it's a little bit different because his father had got into a motorcycle accident and he had a metal plate in his brain. But his father was a child molester also because I got molested by him. That's probably one of the reasons why I was taking anger out on my little brother, because his father had did something to me. And I never really could, get that out or whatever until I got older and I put myself in counseling, extended counseling sessions to address those issues.
Right.
And I finally told him about it. But what he expressed to me and what I know is that by him not having a father or a role model in his life, which that's happening to a lot of men. You just see the black woman raising a man, and the men are becoming soft, and they're becoming feminine because they're up underneath these women and they aunties and they sisters all day. Like my child's father and like both of my child's father were molested by women at young ages. So when you have a man that was molested by women at young ages, you have a person that's really sexually promiscuous with women. So they just run through women. I talked to my child's father. This is the second time that he done got mad. I'm so tired of bitches. I'm just going to be gay. So I'm listening to him, right? He was like, no, wait a minute. No, I ain't going to be gay. And then I'm like, but, you didn't allow yourself to get so angry and upset with a woman, and then you don't have any respect for a woman that you're willing or you're thinking about stepping on the other side, and you're discussing this with me in detail, how that's why you understand why men step over to the other side because, well, his mom, in that instance, his mom was a prostitute and his father was a pimp. So his mom was in a lot of shelters, and his mom used to sell him and pimp him out when he was a baby to women because he's a pretty boy. So now he feels that women are supposed to take care of him. He doesn't want to work, and he wants to lean on a mother. Then he'll tell me to try to feed onto my emotions. He has mommy issues and daddy issues and all of these different things like that. You know what I'm saying? But that's just another form of manipulation that he tries to put off onto me or to any woman to try to make them feel sorry for him. But my brother, my mom didn't make him take out the trash. He's in the Army. So he when he is at home, he leaves pounds of trash just sitting in the house. And then when I tell him to take it out, he gets highly angry and upset and starts screaming and different things like that. And I tell my mom, I said, Mom, this is where you messed up at. When you was walking home with your groceries, you didn't make him carry a damn thing. And that was because she had lost my other brother prior to that. The black woman doesn't have what it takes, to me personally. Now, there are black mothers out there that have raised black sons and have done a good job at them, and they're successful black men. But a lot of times the black mother is not, that doesn't happen all the time. You got your 4 out of 10 situations in that. And then you have the other part where this black man, this black child actually needs a male figure in his life. And when they don't have one, that's when I feel that they're starting to pick up these feminine characteristics. And that's where I think that a lot of this homosexuality is coming into play, but it's not coming into play. I was watching your video. It's not just coming into play because of that. It's coming into play because it's a generational thing. They were doing that to us then, and it's still inside of our system. And, you know, with the mother just raising what you have in all of these single black women raising these men, it is coming out. Now it's coming out. Like they were talking about with Jaden Smith. Will Smith is gay. Anybody that's in the industry and that's doing something for the industry as far as rap is concerned, now you see who is that supposed to be the harder rapper in the game. And I was actually just listening to 2 Phones. What's his name? The one that say, I got 2 phones, one for, now he done dyed his hair blonde. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
I can't even look at you as a, and then I seen my daughter's dad had dyed his hair blonde, and I looked at him and I said, if you don't, you better take that shit off your head, man. And you better dye it black back to what color it was. And since his dumbass then did it, now all his hair done fell out. He finna get one of them white man bald spots in his head. And he gonna have to get a little toupee. You gonna have to get him a lace front, like everybody else. Been having to get him a lace front because you didn't put this dye in your hair, and you didn't try to impress somebody that's out here making you look like a fool, and you're going along with it. And I think that, you know, it's just a normal thing to do. It's so much pressure. It's so much pressure from them in the schools. My son had me on his Instagram on his cell phone. And he didn't know that I had it. But when I was on his Instagram, I could see all of his messages. Even though he was with his foster dad, I could see all of the messages. And I seen this one boy hit him up on some gay shit. And, I mean, you know, as a mother, you want to intervene and you want to try to say something, which that's something that you should not do. You should check it out and see what their response is going to be to it. And my son ended up blocking him. He was like, he's not with that. And wow, I just thank God. That's why I sent him to go move in with 15 other dudes his age, because he's going to learn how to be a man. I mean, I'm not saying that one of them dudes may not be feminine, but he'll have a stronger chance to be like, hell no, I'm not with that gay stuff, man. You know, and stand his ground on it. You just got men that been around too many women, and they don't know how to be a man. That was me. I was around too many men growing up. So I actually was so shy and so scared. You got a lot of people that's insecure. They don't accept themselves because they was abused. So then they don't know how to be women, and they don't know how to be young men. They don't know how to make themselves pretty. And that's something that I had a problem with myself. So I was geared more towards being in a relationship with a girl up until like 14 versus being in a relationship with a guy.
Right.
And then I was like, you know what? Something ain't right about me being in a relationship with a girl. So I had cut that off, fell into it a little bit when I got in my late 20s. And I was like, you know what? That's not something I want to do. Then when I went to prison, I really wasn't messing with no girls. I was like, no, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to do what I need to do and get out. And so that's what I did. And I just think it's just that. I think that that's what's happening in the community. You have a loss of the male figure in the household, and you have a woman trying to raise a man. And if you look at it, and if you look at a lot of boys that is homosexual and a lot of men that's growing up homosexual and gearing towards men, you will notice if you ask one question, where was your father at? That father, 9 times out of 10, was not in the home. And if he was too, there could have been some instances of somebody, a family member touching them or molesting them, or them being touched or molested. That's why I feel like that pastor, because that pastor, me and him used to talk a lot. He had got molested by his cousin, his female cousins, when he was growing up. So he has a real sexual deviant behavior about himself, and it's always geared towards sex. And then when he got older, he just started having sex with like a lot of women. He would be having so many women over here, over there, you wouldn't really know who he's with, who he's not with, because he was just promiscuous like that. And I just feel like that's something that's going on in the community, and then it's happening in the rap music. What's that little dude name? His crazy self, the one with all of the blue hair and the pink hair.
Oh,
and then
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, well, no, 6ix9ine him, but then it's a black one too.
Oh, yeah.
All my friends are dead.
Right.
Him too, and they're trying to promote. This is what they did. They said, we're going to put a hardcore thug, just like they did Miley Cyrus. They got this little country little white girl. Everybody buying little backpacks and little coffee mugs and little pencil holders with Miley Cyrus on it, and all these girls is looking up to her, and then next thing you know, Miley Cyrus shaving off her head, and she's dancing like a nasty demon on the stage. And they're like, well, this was Miley Cyrus that we like. Well, we can't stop liking her. We still have to keep liking her. So they just go with the image, and they say this is what's in. It's mental programming, and it's mental conditioning. And they're doing this, and they're saying this is what a thug is, okay? And now this thug that you're singing his raps is gay now. He really has a boyfriend. And, okay, now he has a dress on.
Amazing.
Okay, and then now he has a purse. And you was liking his music because they put the beat out there. And that's something I had learned in sociology, because in sociology, they talked about how they hire psychologists to do different advertisements on the like when Toys R Us was still rolling, they would hire child psychiatrists and McDonald's psychiatrists to get you to appeal to your mind, to your subconscious mind, for them to present this burger to you or to present this toy to you. And this child is going to come to you and say, Mommy, I want this toy. Or you're going to say, man, that hamburger looks good. I want to get this hamburger. So they pay big money to psychologists to show them how to implement these different things in the commercials and the things that you see on TV. And that is what they're doing. So with that, too, then they're saying that they're adding science. Hormones.
Social engineering.
They're adding Yeah, they're adding hormones and different things to our food now, supposedly, that has, estrogen in it. And then there's one white lady, if I could shoot her, I would, because she took the little black boy. She's a movie star. She took him and she went to go get him a sex change, and now he hates black people at the end of the day. And she said, I'm going to go ahead and adopt this little black boy, and I'm going to go ahead and get him a sex change and turn him into a little girl. Be my little bitch now. That's what it looked like to me. And as a black mother, and then you just feel like they do that to us, and they do it in front of us, and they show us this. It's not behind closed doors anymore. And they do this to us, and they show that this is what I can do because I have money, I'm white, and I have power. And there's nothing that you can do about it. And if you wanted to do anything about it, you shouldn't have been out there on drugs, and you shouldn't have let your child get put in the system and get taken away, or this wouldn't have happened. Right now, my son is in the system, but he's 15 years old. They tried to adopt my son out one time, and they told me, and they tried to put him on all types of medications. My son's mixed with Haitian, so if that don't say nothing to you, they all
medicate you up.
Try to medicate you. The medication didn't do nothing for him. He pissed on all. He went inside. They tried to do an adoption thing on him or something, and they called me and they told me, they said he pissed in the closets throughout the whole house. And he would break people's stuff, and he would do a lot of different things, and they would contact me, and they would tell him, and I was like, well, because he's not allowing y'all to adopt him out. That's what he's not going to do. I I can't stop him with the medication. He still refuses to talk to any of their counselors. I've had a lot of white people call me, Julius, and she said, well, Julius seems like a really nice person, and I tried to talk to him, and he just wouldn't, give me no play, he won't talk in none of his counseling sessions. Do you know why? I was like, well, usually if Julius doesn't trust you, he's not going to do any interaction with you. So, I don't know what might have happened or what you might have did to lose his trust, but if you lose his trust, he's not going to deal with you. The judge told me it was crazy because they, when the system takes your children, they want to keep them. They don't want to give them back. They want to adopt them out. They do not want my son up in there, period. I went by to go drop them off $100. They had something to say, well, she can't do that. She has to actually set up with visitations where we can all come together and meet. Why set up a visitation with you? I know where my son go to school at. I know I could drop money off to him. If he needs money, I could go give him some money. I know where he's at. When he was out, before I had put him in there, I was on state assistance. So the medications that they said that he was supposed to take at that time, because I did try natural, and then they put him on all this medication, put him on like a full-blown medication. And they knew that insurance did not cover his medication when he got out. And when he got out, all of that medication that they had put him on, they never did any more prior authorizations. They sent prior authorizations, but they never approved them. And they let him go without his medication until he ended up doing the same thing that he did to go to juvenile over again. They had to drop the charges on him because he had an IEP and they never followed protocol. But since he went into the system, they took off, they dropped the charges on him. They took away his parole and his probation and everything like that. And he's actually doing good right now. So they still try to get me to get him back, and I don't deal with them because I know how the system works right now. CPS come up to your door, you don't have to talk to them, period. They would really have to have something going on for real, like the child went to school with a broken arm, for you to have to hold a conversation with them. But you don't have to hold a conversation with them. So when they try to come at me, I don't talk to them. Like when I had my baby, because I had an open case, they tried to come and they was like, oh, well, they knew where I was. I didn't even tell them where I was. They came to my house. Maybe they got a new tracking system on the phone, but they came over there. They was like, well, we just got to check the baby out. They came, checked the baby out. The baby was fine. And they went on about their way, and they still try to get in contact with me, but I don't deal with them. I deal with them with the way that I want to deal with them. They don't deal with me, and they don't have no control over here because I know what their tactics is, and I know what they do to families and how their job is to break them up and to just stress you the hell out so that you end up back in jail or committing a new crime because they all in your face, trying to figure out. And it was crazy because the little white lady that was handling my case, she was really stressing me the hell out. And had I known that was what her job was to stress me out, then I would not have. They didn't give a damn that I had a 15-year career. They wanted me to do all of these classes. They didn't care that I had all of the good that I had done as a parent to try to help myself and help my children. None of that mattered. None of that existed to them. Only thing that existed is I was a black mother that was at risk trying to raise children, and it looks like I'm on the edge and I'm about to crack, and they're going to push me off the edge so that I can crack, so they go ahead and scoop my children up and take them away from me. So, I'm just saying, be careful out there.
That's right. Huh? That's right. No, but that's what they want you to do. They want you to crack. They want to push you to the edge. And they know that other factors going on, chances are, in your life when you are a black woman or a black man. So it's, what they do is that they add their little 2% of stress onto your life, knowing that there's 200% stress out there looking for you the same way. That's how they do it on code.
Let me tell you something. That's why.
And let me just say, sweetheart, I just got a phone call. I got to run in about 10 minutes.
We just have to be careful with allowing ourselves to be labeled as the strong black woman or the independent black woman, because that's not who we are. We're here to take care of our family. We're not here to take care of the world or to live up to what society wants us to be, because if you try to live up to what society wants you to be with the house and the picket fence and the husband and the dog and the cat and all that stuff, you're going to fail. So just stay focused on getting to know who your ancestors are and getting to know who you are and where you originated from, and trying to figure out what your mission is and what your purpose is in this world, and how not to become a statistic with the FEMA camps when they try to pick you up, or with the sex trafficking, because it's coming. And it's not just the people that you think are pimp. It's the judges and the attorneys and the lawyers and the police and the doctors and the maintenance men and the construction worker that you don't believe that will be doing it, or your next door neighbor. So I think that's all I have for right now. When would you be able to contact me again, or when can I reach out to you again?
Oh, tonight, if you're free. I got something later on to do an event, but after that, if you're free, we can get down and do some more. I don't get down with the whole Christmas thing, so I'll be here tomorrow doing work. Mm-mm. You know, so
okay.
It's open. I mean, just as easy. And I thank you. I mean, for calling and sharing so much, because, like I said, what you said is going to help a lot of people to know that they're not alone in the things that they have to go through. And you know, this is what we need to do with each other. You know, just to say a little more, you know, many people will go to the church and say, well, that's the place you have to be. And when they go there, they say, oh, I'm not going to tell my problems. The thing is, we all have things that we're going through, and we all need to open up and fellowship and share, you know, as we are going through it, and be there for each other. We don't need any middleman to hijack us for our money and tithes and all this hierarchy. We need to sit down around on the front steps around a table, braid each other's hair, cook for each other, laugh and talk, protect each other, share our resources, and show love in the old neighborhoods the way it used to be. But it's been hijacked and we've been turned against each other. So by you reaching out and opening up shows me and shows the world that this is where it's at. And I applaud you for having the strength to share what your walk has been. And I will say that you have been through a whole lot, and you have a steady head on your shoulders. You're focused, and it shows that anybody can come out of situations, not just one situation, but most of us are dealing with multiple situations, and you're still dealing with things because of what you've been through. But I do feel that you're on your way, and I applaud you for all that you shared and what you are now. And I know that you're going to be a better version of yourself tomorrow, next year, 10 years from now, than you are today, and a testimony for all to hear. One more question before we go. How did you find how did you find me? Or I mean online, but how did you find me?
I was on YouTube, and your with Jaden Smith, all of that stuff popped up, and I took time out to listen to that with the male bucking of the African American man. And that stood out to me, and I was listening to it to the point to where you threw your number out there. And I'm on a lot of social platforms that are African American based, and you know, Black Power and stuff like that. And I was like, you know, if I get an opportunity to say something, like I got something to say, because sometimes I end up. Yeah, I be saying it, and I'm like, am I being heard? You know what I'm saying? I be having stuff to say about Trump. I mean, you know, just to address some issues, like, you know,
bring it all over here. Bring it all over here. Yeah. You got a place to speak on it. Trust me, because you know, people will comment, they will react, they'll want to reach out and, you know, say things about what you said, that we can do the whole conference call, live shows, and it's perpetual. But we have to start talking to each other. We have to start talking. Too many of us have been arrested in our efforts to reach out by going on YouTube, and it's become entertainment, or we're just yelling out and not talking to each other. Yes, we can speak out and we can use this thing as an advantage, but what do? We on that. We blah, 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 blah. What do we do beyond that? I'm not saying you, but many of us have become talking heads, and that's all we do. And we're spinning at the wheels, and we're not getting anywhere. We got our foot on the gas, and the tires are spinning, and we're not getting anywhere. So, you know, we reach out to everybody who has listened to this. They have a story to tell. I'm not ganking you for no 10% or no money or nothing like that. My channel's not even monetized right now. So I'm not getting, it's the joy of joining us together and sharing our stories, because I'll tell you one thing, and I'm going to go after this. In the midnight hour, a lot of us are hurting. A lot of us have nobody to talk to, and we'll do stupid things because of that. So the bottom line is we got to be here for each other. Look, I'm in Orlando via New York City. You're in Las Vegas via Chicago. No matter where we are as a people, we have the same spirit. And you can go to the planet Neptune. You're still part of my community, the Black community. That being said, Sister Anna, thank you so much. And I will talk to you later on tonight. And it's been a pleasure.
All right.
And we have so much more talking to do and action to do, because you have a heck of a testimony.
Well, thank you so much, and I will look forward to talking to you tonight. And I really enjoyed expressing myself on the line. Thank you for your time, okay?
Oh, most definitely. Thank you, sister. We'll talk tonight.
All right, talk to you soon. Okay.
Peace. Bye-bye.
Peace out. Bye-bye.